Ahoy hoy everybody, it's time for Street Talk, where we are going to be talking about what went on in this week's Coronation Street. And before we do, of course, we do have some clickbait articles.
Oh.
Yes, we do. It says, right, I've got them. And our lovely clickbait sender-inner, Stuart. Is it Stuart?
No, Jonathan.
Jonathan. I'm sorry, I don't know where Stuart came from.
Jonathan normally sends it.
Yes, it is Jonathan. Forgive me
Stuart?
for calling you
I've
Stuart.
never even heard anybody called Stuart.
No, we do have it. We do have Stuart listener. Stuart listener, you listen, don't you? Yes, he does. Sorry, Jonathan. He also said in his email that he wants to buy an extra large orange Coronation Street T-shirt off of us, Gemma. So we need Conversation Street T-shirt. I don't know. We need to venture up into the boiling hot attic to find out. But yes, if anyone else wants to buy some orange T-shirts off us,
we're trying to sell them.
We're trying to sell them.
How much are we selling them?
I don't know. We'll haggle off air. Right.
Best offers.
First clickbait of the week, Gemma. Coronation Street's Rita's secret child revealed after 57 years. And they're on the cobbles.
I wouldn't have guessed that they'd be on the cobbles.
Who is Rita's secret child, Gemma?
Oh, is it... I mean... I'm tired. Who was she talking to? Is it the drag queen?
No, she was talking to Debbie.
Debbie?
Yes.
You gave that away then a little bit.
Well, it's all right. You asked the right questions. That's all. Yeah. So some fans on Facebook groups, apparently, according to I didn't write down where this is from. Oh, the Leicester Mercury has said, "Oh, Rita," because there was that odd scene where they kind of brought in Rita, and she was talking about her days back in the clubs, and she was like, "Oh, you wouldn't know the half of it." Wink, 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 and people took that to mean that I'm your secret mother.
Okay.
Also from the Leicester Mercury, Coronation Street set for ITV soap first, with throuple storyline involving Cobble's icon. Give me the names of 3 people who, according to the Leicester Mercury, may well be finding themselves in a bit of a ménage à trois.
I think I know who this is.
Go on.
I think it's Billy.
No.
Really? I thought it was Billy, Theo and Todd.
Oh, so close. You got 2/3 of them.
Okay, Theo...
Theo, Todd. Who else are they going to be shacking up with?
Sean.
No.
Is it a gay man?
It is a gay man.
I've run out already.
He's forgettable. Don't worry about it. It's fine. But he is definitely on the show at the moment. Gemma's brow is furrowing away. He was on tonight's episode.
Theo? Right, the gay... Okay. Theo, Todd.
Yes.
Billy.
Yes.
Sean.
Yes. Come on, he was making eyes at Todd last week even.
I saw James Bailey.
James Bailey in a throuple with him. Apparently, according to the Leicester Mercury, I think not. But why weirder things have happened at sea. Also,
Probably,
right,
yeah, they have.
From Lancs Live, Coronation Street's favourite to return 35 years, so get your maths hat on, Gemma,
oh, no.
after debut to expose Abby's affair. 35 years, so that would mean that this person first appeared on Coronation Street in 1990. Who is going to be coming back? That first appeared in 1990 that's going to be exposing Abby's affair with Carl. And you possibly could work this one out. No. This isn't a live person. We're not talking about Bill Webster here. And Bill Webster appeared for the first time in 1984. Correct, it is Rosie Webster. You are on fire today. Well done. Yeah, Rosie Webster, Helen Flanagan apparently going to be back to... I don't think it's going to happen. And finally...
This is manifesting from...
Don't gesture wild.
Ellen Flanagan.
Ellen Flanagan.
Ellen Flanagan's got her PR people to
yeah,
seed the internet.
I bet she did. Right, from Belfast Live, last one before we get on, we're talking about this week's Coronation Street's fans work out Maria's new Cobble's romance after Gary's betrayal.
Oh...
I can't remember the answer to this one. I looked this one up earlier.
Gary kissed... I'm assuming it's to do with Gary kissing. Or Lou trying to kiss. Otherwise...
I can't remember at all who this is.
We just say that is what...
You keep guessing. I'm going to look it out.
So Maria's going to have a... Okay, it's not Mick, is it?
No, it is not Mick.
Oh, she was talking to somebody again, wasn't she?
Quite possibly.
David.
It's not David. That's one couple that is never going to happen.
Really?
Yeah, it's not. We're not going to have Miriam and David together. No way. Okay, keep going. I've nearly
George.
found it. I don't think it's George. Oh gosh, no, George. Oh my gosh. No. Yeah, running out because I was still trying to find out. It's not Adam.
Do you guys remember Adam?
It's not. Oh yes, I remember now. This is a character that's not in the show at the moment. That someone's going to come back and romance Maria. Okay. I don't think you're going to get it.
Okay, tell me then.
Peter Barlow. Peter Barlow, according to Belfast Live, or at least Belfast Live's people that they were looking up on Facebook. No, I would love for Peter to come back.
What do they talk about? Recycling.
They've both got Carla in common, I suppose.
I bet they could talk about how bad the plastic pollution is in the sea.
Yes, there we go. It's a match made in heaven. Look, if you manage to get together with Tina Mack, then surely Maria isn't out of the question, is she?
Well,
Come on.
They're all so beautiful. How would you pick?
Right, so we have got 5 storylines to talk about in this week's Coronation Street, or maybe we've got 6. I think we've got 6. I just forgot to write one down at the beginning. But the first storyline we're going to be starting off is What a Drag, which is the storyline title for the Todd and Theo, and also a drag artist. But
that is actually a really
just a coincidence.
Title for that. Nice.
Yeah. Oh god, the story seemed to have like the right elements, but.
What do you mean?
In planning, like I can see why they would think that this might work. But it's just kind of falling a bit on its arse. Isn't it?
I'm enjoying this because it's infuriating me to an extreme.
It's making you passionate. That's good.
We were watching it, and I was making some butter pecan ice cream today.
We are making loads of ice cream this week
because it's hot, and so I was I had to keep going out and checking the ice cream, and as I kept pausing it, and I was like, I got up and I said to you, this is such a train wreck, didn't I say? This storyline is such a train wreck.
Mm-hmm.
And I walked through to the kitchen, and all the way through I was like going, I can't believe that Theo, I hate him, and he's really bad for Todd, and Todd blah blah blah, and Millie, she's the only one who's any sense in that family. I was like, you know what, Gemma, you actually really love this storyline. Why are you trying to pretend you don't? You love the drama.
I wonder, like what was the original intent of this story? Is it to rile us up?
I cannot understand if we were supposed to like Theo. Because
I just need... Sometimes I need Coronation Street to tell us, how do you want us to feel about it? Because the more that I go down watching this storyline rabbit hole, I'm thinking, surely they can't be wanting us to like be championing Todd and Theo because it's so toxic, this relationship. But then every so often they'll make these gooey eyes at each other and be holding hands and say, oh, we love each other really, and the next minute Theo's threatening to punch Todd's teeth out, and he's got big arms. That's gonna hurt. He's gonna go right through the back of his skull.
It's so difficult because I don't think that toxic same-sex relationships are really well explored on Coronation. On soaps in general, you know, I may be talking out my arse a little bit, but they're just so rare that I feel as though the soaps feel like they have to represent them in a really positive way. But then I'm also thinking about Kaz, because she was Kate's girlfriend, and she was crazy.
That was mega toxic, that one was.
So I think the fact that they're doing... I genuinely, if it turns out that we're supposed to really want Todd and Theo together, then I'm going to be surprised, because he's an awful person.
He really, really is.
And I know he's got a really tragic, you know, and he's messed up, and it's not his fault. But I just don't like him either.
And every now and then they'll just like drop something into the dialogue that seems like it's trying to make us feel sorry for him more. Like today when Millie said, "Oh, you've not been self-harming again, have you?" It's like, oh, come on,
it's awful.
But you know, on the flip side, if Coronation Street does maneuver the story so that this is, you know, Theo turns out to be a villain and he's bad for Todd, and we're like, you clever buggers, Coronation Street, because we thought we were supposed to be liking it, but you wanted us to hate him all along.
I'm really hoping that is, because from the beginning I thought he was something weird about him.
I enjoyed him more at the beginning, but all the way through this, I still say that Danielle has been the victim, and Danielle's the more interesting character.
Millie,
Millie, of course. I'll tell you what, I'm glad that we found out that this pregnancy is fake today.
When she put the selected S and put it in the car, it's like, that's a pregnancy stomach. I know that's a pregnancy stomach.
Yeah, that was good. Clearly we've got lots to talk about.
See what I mean?
Storyline.
You say it's a drag, but it's not. It's really interesting. It's just that
Theo's just a bit of a drag.
Deeply unlikable.
Oh, I feel so bad if he's not supposed to be like unlikable. I really do.
Yeah, but I know. But okay, some people can be a victim of something horrendous and tragic and awful, but you can still dislike them. Doesn't mean that you're invalidating their experience or that you feel like they deserved it, because nobody deserved what happened to Theo and what he's still going through. I just don't like him. I don't care.
He's just a massive cheat. Sorry. And then up next we're going to be heading over to number 13 Coronation Street for the Deb Mencher storyline, and that affair, it's still not happening yet. This is a story where I really feel like they've got the pacing seriously wrong, because ever since the first episode that Carl stepped onto the street, and how long ago was that? 2 months ago? 3 months ago? I lost count. It's like, okay, so this is leading towards a Carl and Abby affair storyline. Don't really want it to happen, and all this time later we're still waiting for it, and it still feels just as inevitable now as it did in his first appearance. But it isn't like the sexual chemistry between these two is so exciting, I'm just enjoying these, the sparks between them and the sultry smouldering looks that they're giving each other. It's building my anticipation for the affair all the more. It's not that at all. It's just like, get on with it and then get it over with. And Corey's like, no, we're gonna drag this out even longer. But the Debbie stuff was good, at least this week. Got a bit more wonky and woozy cam, didn't we?
Yeah, woozy cam.
Matt Hilton directing 2 of the 3 episodes of Coronation Street this week. So, as you said when we were watching it, get the ladders out.
Yeah.
Matt Hilton's about. He's going to be going for some crazy shots.
Let's go up.
And he did do some very nice shots this week.
I love his work.
There's a lovely one in the Ginnell that looked like it was filmed upstairs in Maudsley Street. And
you will never not know that you're watching a Matt Hilton episode.
I really enjoyed the scene in the Todd and Theo storyline where the camera starts with the banister and then it zooms into Todd and it was George, wasn't it?
Yeah.
In the lounge, and it was in the corner of the lounge where we saw the fourth wall, and we saw that oil painting of Archie above them.
Funnily enough, they photoshopped that because George was in that painting.
Clearly.
I want to give props to a different Matt Hilton shot before I forget.
Yes.
When Debbie had just had her TIA, and she was sitting down in speed dial, and it was just focused on her face, and you could hear the characters talking, and they're reacting to her telling everybody
that was a good one.
About what had happened to her, and all you could hear was like Aadi going, "Oh, I'm so sorry," and then Kevin's like, "Oh my gosh," and
it was all about Debbie's facial reaction.
Literally could not see any of them. It was just Debbie, and it was such an interesting choice, and I was still trying to it kind of isolated her, didn't it? But made her the focus of attention at the same time. It was a really clever choice to have the camera not cut away to any of those characters.
Yeah, I enjoyed that immensely. They were kind of the main 2 stories this week. We had a little bit more of the Maria Lou Zizit storyline, to her little feud with Lou, and there was a bit of Swallow in there as well going on.
Why was that in that story?
I can't really remember, because Mick and Kit is the common thread, possibly. I don't know. DDFM is my storyline title for Dee-Dee on another podcast that is not Conversation Street.
I can't believe she went on a different...
Can't believe it.
I kept calling it a podcast, but it wasn't. It was a radio.
Yeah, it was a radio.
Which is what old-fashioned people call podcasts.
Yes, you're right. And, the biggest surprise for me this week in Coronation Street was that Amy is actually still doing her radio show.
And no one seems to care.
Nobody seems to care about it at all. No, bless her. James was listening. But, yeah.
That was
I thought that they gave her that radio show just so that they could have Paul swear on it that one time last year. But no, apparently she's got a passion for radio.
I will tell you what, she's got a passion for getting her neighbours on to talk about their awful life experiences, which means she will never run out of content. I mean, that's what we do. Does she
have any guests on that aren't her neighbours? That's a good point. Or maybe they do, and that's just they don't show us because we're not interested.
No, we wouldn't be, would we?
There's a little bit more of the fostering storyline as well, and the 6th storyline that only got about 3 scenes this week was the build up to next week's party episode. It's an Aadi party.
Aadi party?
Aadi party is what I'm calling this one.
I've got an idea. Good stuff. I want to pitch this to the Corrie writers, just so we can do a special a punny title. Please can we get Sally and Tim fostering a really eccentric child who's quite a bit bonkers in a fun way.
Right.
And then we can call it Bananas Foster. Do you not know what that is?
Is that a pudding?
It's a pudding.
Okay. Go for it, Coronation Street.
This is the kind of thing you come up to me after having Googled it and gone, Bananas Foster's a thing, right?
I see. People are, you know, I don't know whether you noticed this, Joe, but people
Okay.
are having a bit of a moan at Coronation Street at the moment in the direction it's going, and they're not really enjoying all the hospital and police storylines. You might have heard people mentioning that once or twice. If Coronation Street, in their storyline conferences, right, we're like, right, let's come up with some funny puns that Michael and Gemma will love to use on their show, and then just base the storylines around that.
They should just do that anyway.
Yeah, they should.
Just not for us, just for their own amusement.
Pick a pun. What story can you come up with it? That'll lead you to all sorts of creative avenues.
My conspiracy theory is that is how the news has been created, purely so that like the Daily Mail and the Sun can come up with funny headlines.
Over the years.
Yeah.
Maybe. Right, shall I take the drag storyline, the Theo and Todd and all that?
And Christian Squat Thomas.
Kristen Squat Thomas.
Yes. Is an actress.
Do you know the name of the drag artist? Who?
No, you would get. Who?
It's Anna Phylactic. Is the name of the drag artist who played Kristen Squat Thomas.
That was a better name than Chris. I don't get Kristen. I don't.
You said that Kristen Scott Thomas is a person. I don't even see. I think
it's a bit of an old reference, isn't it?
I don't know, but Squat.
She was a fantastic actress.
Yeah, I not the best drag name,
is.
but I really, I loved the drag queen stuff on Wednesday night. When I saw that they were going to do a drag night, I was like, okay, maybe, because it just put me back to like the night. Do you remember the episode where Norris dresses up as, was it Carmen Miranda or?
Yeah.
It wasn't. It was something like that.
Was it not?
No, I think it wasn't. Back in the 90s. And I was like, are the characters going to dress up in drag? But they didn't. They had an honest to God, true to life, drag queen in the show.
Well, this is more like what, you know, in real life you wouldn't go, let's have a drag night, everyone dress in drag, would you?
No. So it really took me by surprise. Wednesday's episode I very much appreciated. And it seems like it went down really well online as well. The community stuff was there. The Rovers was absolutely jam-packed. Granted, the majority of the people that were in the Rovers were non-speaking extras. But the whole vibe of Wednesday's episode, I mean, I know there's the downer of Todd and everything. Yeah. But the whole vibe of everything that went on in the Rovers is just what Corrie needs at the moment. So well done whoever came up with that idea.
I just want to apologise to Kristen Scott Thomas. I didn't know she was still doing stuff, but she's in Slow Horses apparently, which is on Apple TV, which I want to watch.
Oh.
But she was in The English Patient and like 4 Weddings and a Funeral. She was she's big in the 90s. Still going, just like me. I was big in the 90s. Still going.
You're even bigger now.
Yeah, literally.
No, just talking about you being on a podcast.
Okay.
Right, what a drag. So Monday's episode, we got Todd still looking at these family photos that are being uploaded to Send PX.
By Millie, on purpose.
Yeah.
Jealous.
The pictures of Millie and Danielle and Theo back at Chateau Silverton.
What's the boy's name? Miles?
No, I can't remember. He's just been completely wiped out of this story, hasn't he? Theo Jr. Like, why did they even bother giving her a brother?
No,
because he's not done anything.
No.
I like the idea. I still really enjoy Millie, and I was happy to have this young boy in the show as well, because I'd really like to know what he thinks about it. But literally, it's like he's been erased. I wonder whether like he sort of
maybe
he rebelled or raised an objection or something, and Danielle's had him like secretly assassinated, and there's like, if anybody mentions him ever again, it's going to be I'm going to come after you next.
I've just googled it, and the actor who played him had got a giant face tattoo.
Oh, is that
in between the first scene he did and now, so they couldn't have him on.
What a load of codswallop. Anyway, so Glenda says, look, Todd, just don't fixate on this too much. You're getting your knickers a twist in about it. It's not good for you. It's an exercise in propaganda, whether Theo sent it or someone else. And Todd's like, you're right. I got to move on from this. And then he just ends up getting plastered through the rest of the episode. It's only 1:10 in the afternoon, and he's 3 sheets to the wind. And
what's wrong with that? I suppose it's a Monday.
It is a Monday. It's not a Sunday drink-a-thon. And he says, Glenda, look, you should get the karaoke out again. Do something to raise my spirits, girl. And then
you could do it for soap-week.com. You could raise money by doing soap karaoke.
You could do soap karaoke. That'd be.
You can do the You and Me song.
Yeah.
And you spray people with water.
You could do a sponsored drink. Maybe
you could get yourself completely bladdered and end up in hospital.
You could do a Coronation Street drinking game and take a shot every time they go to the police station or the hospital.
Do not kill yourself. Please, in the name of charity.
No, probably not the best idea. Anyway, he gets Billy and Sean to pose for a picture together, which then he uploads to his socials as a way of getting back at him.
Doesn't work.
It's not really getting much traction later on, though, which kind of gets him even more down in the dumps. So he decides that he's going to take matters into his own hands, even more so, and phone Theo himself. Sadly, he gets the answer phone and he's like, oh, I really miss him. I need to talk to him. And then something very weird happens, and I still don't think Corey has given us an adequate explanation for the minutiae of this next development. So as Todd is on the phone, Sean's just casually browsing Gay Bay, as you do.
I do
and
that.
He finds Theo's profile.
Yeah.
But it's not Theo, it turns out to be later. This is one that somebody else, who could it be, sets up. And it's under Theo's name. It's got the same picture that Theo used before on Gay Bay, but it's active again.
And it's topless.
It's topless.
It's a rather raunchy, saucy picture.
This is a very raunchy, saucy picture of him.
It's provocative, one might say.
Yes.
It's enticing.
Yes. And it's the same one that he used before. And Todd's like, oh, what's going on? What's he doing back on there again? He's very upset about this because they did promise each other they'd delete their profiles once they got together, and now he doesn't know what to think. So Theo, and then Theo comes in. He's all kind of smiling, and he's.
Is that the modern version? Like when we were younger, it was changing your status on Facebook from like it's complicated to in a relationship. Is it the modern thing now that when you're going steady, the one might say, that you delete your dating app?
Well,
is that
so.
like a yeah, I know, but is it like
Tell us, young listeners,
is it as significant as a Facebook update?
It probably is.
I hope so.
So anyway, they go back home. Todd and Theo. Theo's like, I promise this is nothing to do with me. Somebody set this up. I've had my identity stolen. Pity me, pity me. And then he gets Todd to set up his account on Gay Bay again, and then message this new Theo, but then actual Theo gets no notification as a way of saying, look, this isn't me, otherwise I got a ding. And then Todd's like, yeah, got me there, okay, somebody's catfishing you. And but then he starts to get a message from an account saying, hey, gorgeous, up for some fun. So there is clearly a fake Theo on the loose here. And this only kind of gets Todd and Theo closer together again, because Todd's like, oh, I'm so sorry, I accused you, gives him a kiss, and I'm glad you're back.
This is weird,
love
right?
You, I've missed you.
So hang on a minute. So Todd messages Theo's fake account.
Fake Theo, yes.
Right? And then real Theo's like, look, my account, it's not my account.
Yes.
But then
because he would never think of having a burner phone.
The person who's faked this account replies to Todd's message.
Yes.
Saying, hey, gorgeous, up for some fun.
Yes.
This is bonkers.
So hang on a minute.
So whoever's faking it, has it been revealed it's Millie? Because I think it's obviously Millie.
No, I don't think it has. But the end of the episode is Theo saying, I know exactly who's done this, because he reckons it's Danielle. And Wednesday's episode starts with him on the phone to Danielle and her saying, no, it's not me. But sure,
I have so many questions.
Who else would care?
Who would care?
Who would do it?
Who would have access to a sexy picture of Theo? Right? Because nobody should have access to this. This very pious Christian man who has been married to his wife and has not done any naughty things, even though he was on Gay Bay before. Because if it's his daughter that's done this, how did she get that picture? That's
this
gross.
Is what I want to know. That's my biggest bugbear with this at the moment. If it's Millie, and I can't see that it would be anyone else, unless it's like nobody and somebody just thought, because people do set up fake profiles. They say, that's a sexy person. I'm ambassador of Minga.
I would love to be a sexy person.
Yeah, I'm going to see if I
can. That's what I
get
wanted to do for this
attention.
podcast, but it doesn't work.
So somebody may be just off out of the blue, but it's very unlikely, isn't it? It's got to be Millie, and you're right.
But here's my other question: if it's Millie or Danielle or Miles, the silent child, why would they reply to Todd, who they know what he looks like, with this picture of Theo going, hey, gorgeous, want some fun?
I can't remember whether when Todd set up his site again, he actually, genuinely set it up as himself, or whether he also. So
you think he went through and set up a whole entire new account for himself in a matter of seconds? No, I suppose he must be.
No, I think they might have talked about it in a previous scene. I can't remember, but no, seriously, my biggest problem with this is if it's Millie and she's posting that picture of her dad.
Where'd she get it from?
That's just all kinds of gross, isn't it? Like nobody wants to. even look at a picture of their dad looking sexy,
she wouldn't,
do they?
I know, well, I don't know. If your dad is some famous actor, you're probably used to it, aren't you?
Yeah, but you don't...
Look.
Do you still find it a little bit embarrassing? Because that wasn't...
You should do.
Millie
it's
would
cringe,
be
isn't
absolutely devastated and to look at that picture of her dad, which represents everything that she despises about him and Todd at the moment, because she's still not fully accepted it, has she? Because she's still trying to tempt Theo away from Todd. But this picture represents what split up their whole family.
And how would you... Genuinely, would it not be easier for her to have set up a fake dating profile for Todd?
Maybe.
Because what is she trying to achieve? She's trying to get her dad a different boyfriend. It's not... No. How did she think that anyone was ever going to find it? Do you not think it's a massive stretch that she knows that... Like, to be honest with you, Todd's not got loads of friends. So the odds
Who
of...
has?
What?
Who has on Coronation Street?
The odds of one of his friends being on a dating app and actually finding Theo's fake profile and then telling Todd,
well, I don't know,
it's incredibly low. But why would this be your plan? Why would this be your genius plan? It's the worst plan I've heard of.
It's just part of the plan, isn't it? It's just like maybe Millie set up this fake Theo dating account like weeks away, and it's finally somebody's been found. But I don't know. Do they not say, here's somebody sexy in your area, you know?
Well, I've seen pop-ups that say that there's some lovely ladies that live around here.
They're just up for anything, are they?
Well, I was going to get them to co-host.
I'm still just waiting for a twist in this story where it's not going the way that we think it is, and that would be another good one if it turns out that this isn't Millie. But if it is, it really gives. Yeah.
When it came up, I was like, haha. Theo is a dog, and he is cheating, and he has been doing this the whole time.
Oh, did you see?
I was so excited, yes, it proves my theory.
It was fake. I thought I clocked straight away it wasn't him.
Do you think that Theo sends topless pics of his ripped abs to his whole family, hey family, just on the site, what do you think of me abs? I've been picking up bricks all day. And they're like, oh, well done. You're such a great provider for our family.
Maybe that's his LinkedIn photo as well. Hire me as a builder. Look how strong and manly I am.
Expert at lifting things up.
I don't know. He does have a bit of a cobbled stomach, doesn't he?
He does. He's the cobbles incarnate. No wonder Todd loves him so much.
Anyway, Wednesday, like I said, we got this drag queen stuff, and even though it's not... the other thing that I liked about the whole drag queen thing on Wednesday is that it kind of drew in a variety of stories, because Debbie was in there, Carla and Lisa are in there, but I suppose it touched on Todd and Theo the most. But and it started off with Glenda handing out the flyers. It was a bit of a weird...
Open.
It's just as in what time of day was Wednesday's episode set. I've seen discussion about this online, because it starts with Todd coming home from work, so it's clearly not the beginning of the day. But when the party was going on in the pub, it's pretty pitch black inside, isn't it? They've got the curtains drawn and everything, but then outside it's bright. But of course,
burning sunshine.
The sun isn't setting until 10 in the evening or so at the moment.
In Manchester,
so that does make sense. But then equally, this party was still going on whilst Dee-Dee was taking Laila to get her jabs, and unless she was going to some weird late night, what's it called? Crash? No, what do you call? What do you take a baby to get his jabs?
Clinic,
that's the word. Near began with a C.
Maybe they were having a drag night. Maybe they've got a drag night clinic, and the babies get distracted by their beautiful wigs.
It did come across as a bit of a drag afternoon, didn't it? But timing has never been Corey's
I don't think
I'd
be super up for a drag Wednesday afternoon.
Well, most people are at work, aren't they? No, Todd had come home. It didn't make sense. I don't think we were supposed to think too hard into it. But anyway.
Well, it's very nice of Weatherfield, whatever they're called, Health Centre or whatever it is, Rosamond Street.
Yeah.
To have an evening jab session for kids. I suppose they must do. So not everyone who's got a baby's got time to bugger around on a Wednesday.
Well, anyway,
in the afternoon.
Todd decides that he's going to try and twist Theo's arm to come along to this thing. So he gets home, and this is when he finds Theo on the phone to Danielle, who's saying, "No, I didn't set up this fake profile. Surely it can't be the kids, can it? Millie wouldn't want to risk her mates at church seeing it."
Again, all her mates on gay
All her mates at church, are they on gay bay? there's some odd.
There's a lot of logic.
Jumps to conclusions there.
A lot of jumps in logic. I don't really.
No.
It does feel like, I know, I hate to use this phrase because it is so silly on the show, but cobbled together. It really just feels like.
It's got to be Millie.
It feels.
It's got to be Millie.
Sometimes
trying to cause ruptions between Theo and Todd.
There are certain stories that feel a bit like there was a bunch of post-it notes and they got blown on the floor, and then they picked them up and they just put them back together any old how, and this is what we've got.
6 episodes a week to produce.
We haven't got time to put them in order. Just put them on the script. Look, send them off.
Don't be so mean to the very hard-working storyliners and writers on Coronation Street. We do genuinely.
It's not the writers. The writers just write what's on the post-it.
No, but the writers do our pitching.
Oh, they all do. Yeah.
They do the pitch and we do the bitching. They know the score.
They know how it works.
We love them really.
I'm sure they look. You can't mind at this point. It's been going for 65 years and we haven't shut up moaning about it the whole time.
So anyway, back to the Rovers, and this is when, what did she call Kristen Squat? Thomas gets her grand unveiling on the stage of the Rovers, and he gets the crowd going with some jokes and some songs. It really looked like a quite fun, entertaining type of evening.
Very good.
All of the gays were there.
Who did you say it was? The artist?
Anaphylactic.
Yeah, very talented, really good, and show busy.
Yeah, well, he.
I think you say she.
Okay, was outside handing out flyers. I think at the beginning of the episode.
Really confident. I love that.
It was a very confident performance, and from a character who I'd never heard of the actor before. I didn't know that if there was going to be a drag artist that there would be a main part. Like it was a. I totally got that character. Not that, I mean, it's not the most deep of characters, was it? But I feel like I really got to know the character of Kristen Squat Thomas over the course of Wednesday's episode, which is so rare for a walk-on part.
Can you imagine if they made that person because I don't know whether I'm talking about the artist or the
gentleman beneath the wig.
If they made that person into a regular character, can you imagine? Already on Twitter there was a bit of a meltdown because...
Was there?
Yeah, because they were like, oh, what is this? Pink news.
It was cool. Anaphylactic actually put something on their... I'm seeing them there. Sorry, pronouns, I don't know. On their Instagram.
Well, you normally ask, but they're
not here. She put a cool photo of herself and saying, "What an absolute blast I had ruling the roost at the Rovers' return really last night. A dream literally come true. It was drag night on the Rovers and I got to make my debut as Kristen Squat Thomas. Here I am channeling," and I think you'll like this, "a bit of old school Corrie with a hint of Elsie Tanner in the wig and a gorgeous suit by Lizzie Biscuits." And I didn't notice it at the time, but it really is a bit like an Elsie Tanner.
The dress was
drag
lovely.
queen version
really
of Elsie Tanner.
Dress.
Yeah, there's also a picture there that I've only just noticed that I hadn't seen before of her posing with Barbara Knox as well. It was I
don't know. There's no. Sometimes there is
There are no pronouns listed.
She, they, he. So we're fine.
Oh,
we're covered.
Brilliant.
Thank goodness.
Brilliant. As long as we don't start calling them I, then we're all sorted. Yeah, it was just such a really
I love
fun,
it when somebody comes in and just takes command of a scene like that. Absolutely, just really felt like a real drag queen come in. Like, I've done this a million times in a million pubs. Let's just do it.
It's just trotting out the same old jokes again.
Not being blasé, but like really owning the space and like just take it. Like, yes, I am.
Yeah.
Here.
And it's like, no, I am here for a 1 episode appearance and I am going to make the most of this.
And my nan's watching, so you better enjoy it.
Just such fun. And they're doing jokes, they're doing songs, interacting with the audience. So it wasn't all just a routine. Some of it was...
There was, quite a few where she was like picking people out of the crowd, and I said to you, I would be out of the door as soon as I saw anyone being spoken to.
You don't like audience participation, do you? What was it that they were calling Theo?
Oh,
I can't remember. I don't think I wrote it down.
There was a nickname.
Yeah.
He was in.
Oh, it's totally gone. And it's probably quite important as well. But yeah, lots and lots of fun.
Well, it causes him a bit of a kerfuffle.
Yeah, later on it does. Anyway, while this is going on, Theo is getting texts from Millie left, right, and centre about shoes and family things, and she's just desperately trying to
She knows that
get
he's
his attention
with Todd, and she's trying to steal him back.
Yeah. So Kristen is up on stage. Billy starts to notice that something's going a bit odd with Theo, and he's distracted, and says to Todd, well, what's going on there with him? And he's like, it's his buddy daughter. So he has a bit of a sneaky sneak and gets Theo's phone and puts it on airplane mode. And did anybody else notice, and I don't think I'm remembering this wrongly, that he unlocked Theo's phone in order to put it on airplane mode, which is something that you don't need to do.
Oh, let's not worry about that.
Okay. Anyway, then we had, this was the best, the Shuttleworth siblings performing their duet.
Wonderful.
Thank you, whoever's idea that was. I love it every time Glenda sings. I love Glenda singing more than I love Rita singing. And come and get me, Coronation Street nerds. But I think that Glenda...
You're the king of them.
I know, exactly, I am. Come and cause a coup, if you like. I just think every time that Glenda gets at that mic, she is just absolutely fantastic. The little shimmies that she does, the looks in her eyes, she has got so much sass and pizzazz, and the voice is just brilliant. But then to pair her up with George, her brother, and you kind of pointed out as we were watching this, didn't you, that Tony Maudsley, who is obviously a gay man, was doing his really best impression of somebody who's playing a very straight character, doing a very camp song. It was really well done. Without
leaning in, like he was restraining him. It felt like, because we've seen him in Benidorm.
We all know Kenneth.
I don't know. I haven't ever seen him in real life or heard him speak or anything. But Kenneth's character, the character of Kenneth in
Benidorm.
God damn. What is so flamboyant, and so I can imagine he's done loads of performances where he is very much like really super camp.
Yeah.
So when he was performing this, I was like, oh, he's doing such a great job of like
restraining
being
his inner campness.
And there was a bit,
out.
Wasn't there, when he was next to Sean and Kristen was saying who's gay here, and Sean put his hand up.
Sean puts George's hand up.
Yeah, Sean put George's hand up, and he was like, no, don't do that. I just thought that was really funny.
It was getting those
two. A bit better.
I don't know how long Glenda's karaoke stylings and entertaining can still stay entertaining.
Oh, forever for me. I mean, it has
it's happening an awful lot, isn't it? And when we saw Jodie at the Soap Awards the other day, she was like, all she seems to do is not complaining. She's like, there's this new bird at the Rovers, and all she's doing is doing karaoke all the time. And it is a bit of a thing, and people on Coronation Street, the characters, are noticing. But it really does feel like, get her out once every week or two, and I don't think I could get tired of her.
Because it feels as though it's like, we said this before lots of times about Coronation Street having a tradition of these music hall performers and entertainers from the 60s and the 50s and the 60s. They all were in Coronation Street. That was where they came from. A lot of them. They performed also during the war too. A lot of them were entertainers.
Yeah, like Bill Waddington and Jill Simmers. And
it's really, even
Betty
Archie.
Yeah, Roy Hudd, yeah.
Even he, like... He was like,
It doesn't feel like you get that much these days, but with Jodie Prenger, she has got that theatrical background.
She is carrying the torch of the real DNA of what the cast of Coronation Street was.
But then so does Sue Devaney, because she's a bit of a theatre.
She's just a campy performer.
Yeah, well, she was doing like ABBA tribute and stuff, wasn't she? I can't remember. Was she doing Mamma Mia? I don't know, but
I just love it. I think that kind of musical, like theatrical element of the cast maybe got a bit lost in when they in the sort of the not like the modern era. They've kind of like even people like what's her face who played Michelle.
Yeah, Kim Marsh.
Even Kim Marsh, when she sang, she was like, I'm in a band, I'm cool, I'm in a band. Glenda's like, I work on the cruise ships. That is like the modern equivalent of a musical, isn't it? Anyway.
Is anyone else feeling really, really guilty that they're not missing Jenny in the Rovers? Because that's what I'm feeling.
You can't say that. You don't need Jenny to not be there to have Glenda do this kind of stuff.
But
I know
this wouldn't have happened if Jenny had still been there.
Jenny would have let them do it.
But this is Glenda's baby, and I'm loving it. Yeah, I've got my own little headcanon about Jenny on Wednesday evening, just sitting there in number 12, just seething away. Saying, I didn't want to have a drag night anyway.
Rita's like, you're coming with me down to the Rovers for the drag night. No, I'm washing my hair. I wouldn't
darken their doors.
I'm washing my hair. I don't have time for that sort of thing.
I've got real red hair, not like that Kristen Squats Thomas or whatever.
My hair doesn't come off at night. Not all of it.
Oh yeah, I feel really bad, but I don't think we've seen Hide Nor Hair of Jenny since that time that she swans out and said, I'm just going up over to the cabin to work there for a bit. Honestly,
don't bother making a set for me.
What is going on there? But anyway, I'm loving the Glenda era, but it doesn't feel like it can last, so I'm just enjoying every second of it while we can.
Why not?
I know. Anyway, Theo, meanwhile, he's noticing that Millie's not been texting him recently, and he says, "Look, there we go. Sorry, Todd, for being so distracted earlier, but I'm all
yours now.
All yours now." Again, I just don't want to nitpick, but I would have thought that you might notice just looking at your phone that it's on airplane mode. But I don't know what operating system they use in Weatherfield. Maybe that's hidden. Anyway, everyone's doing shots. Billy's given Theo his number at one point, doesn't he? And this is when Theo notices at last that his phone is on airplane mode, and he turns it on, and this is like, it writes itself. Your phone's been on airplane mode. Oh, what's this? A load of messages. What? Millie's in hospital. Come on, Coronation Street.
No, I know. No, what do you mean? You can't.
It's such a cliche.
Michael, people act in predictable ways because it's like how people act. You can't have. What did you want? Like him to look at his phone and go, "Oh my gosh, the aliens have landed on the White House lawn."
Yes,
this is the worst possible president for that to happen to.
They might beam him up, mightn't they?
To do some experiments.
Yeah, might do a bit of probing.
I think we could all use the results of that, couldn't we?
He's already done tests, Gemma.
He's got the best results.
He's got the best results. Yeah. He's not at all. Yeah. Anyway, this isn't a political podcast at all.
I'm very proud of him.
Millie's in hospital, but I suppose it was a good twist that. Because now we know that she's not actually pregnant. I
knew she wasn't pregnant.
No, we were pretty sure that she wasn't going to be pregnant.
I told you last week I bet money on it.
I know. But this was like, how's she in hospital? And it turns out that she must have been faking pregnancy pains, and Danielle overreacted to it and was like, we must get you down to Weatherfield General straight away, and then it was down to Danielle to try and figure herself a way out of it.
Down to Millie,
to find a way out of it. Yeah, exactly. And so Todd's is.
He gets mad.
Yeah, Theo's mad at Todd because it's clear that he's put his phone on silent.
He calls him a selfish moron, which I think was the pot calling the kettle black, don't you?
Exactly, yeah.
I think the pair of them
it gets worse than
morons.
That, because this is where they kind of stalk outside and Todd's kind of skulking out, apologising to him and saying, is Millie okay? And he's like, oh, like you care? You don't even understand. Todd, you don't have kids. This is so harsh. He's literally just... I was going to say celebrated, but that's not the right word. Marked the anniversary, memorialised the anniversary of his little son's death.
I'm surprised he didn't say anything.
Come on. And then he says, if you come near me again, I'll knock your teeth out.
He's so violent, this man.
All of this, the kind of thing that you would just forgive straight away and say, well, your daughter was in hospital.
The thing is, right...
The clues are adding up. Maybe once you'd forgiven, but there are so many red flags here.
Coronation Street has asked us to ignore really toxic and terrible behaviour in characters previously, where I thought, and I can't think of specific examples, but where I thought that they were leading us down a certain path because there's no way that anyone would ever, not recognise this to be completely inappropriate.
But then also you've got Jeff, who when he came into it, it's like, are we supposed to like him because there's something not quite right?
Like weird about
and that was very purposefully planned right from the start, that he would he's just kind of an unsettling of guy.
That's a good word.
And then it turned out, he's a massive
evil.
He's
a massive evil
controller. And that's what's making me think that it could possibly be going this way with them.
I mean, it could be a really good direction to go to explore domestic violence and same-sex relationships, and I think that they're in a really powerful position to be able to do that, because like we've said lots of times, if you have a person on a show that's representing a minority group or somebody that's not been represented very well previously, they have to stand in for everybody from that community, and so they get judged really harshly, and it's really difficult to get them to do things that, you know, might not chime with everybody, because then you judge the whole group. People do. But Coronation Street's just come off the back of like one of the best depictions of a gay couple they've ever done, with Billy and Paul. And so to go, I think some people might criticise it, go, oh, I can't believe you've gone from that to this, and, you know, making out that gay couples are toxic. But I think that...
You've also got Carla and Lisa.
Yeah, you've got Carla and Lisa
going on at the moment, haven't you? Although some of Lisa's behaviour is questionable.
Well, she's struggling. But...
she is.
But you know what I mean? Like, this could be a really interesting... Just because he's gay and he's had a really tough life, and he self-harms and he's had conversion therapy, and he's... You know, it doesn't mean that he can't be an abuser himself.
Exactly. We will see, won't we? We will see. So anyway, Theo's gone off to the hospital, and George comes out, finds Todd, and takes him back home for a brew and a biscuit. And a
close-up.
Yeah, and a very slow close-up towards him. And George is just being a really good friend and trying to reassure Todd that things are going to be all right. And Theo's got a lot going on at the moment, not just Millie. You know, he's trying to figure out who he is.
Stop being so clueless, Todd, and trying to get between this guy and his family.
Todd says that what Theo's going through has made him realise how lucky he is to have been so supported since he came out as gay.
Well, it was a bit of a struggle at the beginning.
Well, no, Eileen supported Todd straight away in that episode.
Didn't Vera call him rude words?
Yeah. There were members of the community.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, he
had a support network of sorts, because Eileen was on his side right from the very beginning. And if you go back and watch the episode where Todd comes out to Eileen, it's a really, really powerfully written and performed episode. It's super.
You don't really need support if you're not being challenged.
Yeah. But yeah, so he's saying he's been quite lucky on the whole. And then he kind of invents another boyfriend. And I say invents in that it was somebody that's never been mentioned before. Of course, in the canon of Coronation Street, this is totally real, but apparently once he dated another man who had a wife and a kid, and then...
He's got form for this, then.
Yeah, is this Todd's
No,
thing?
I don't know. I think many people in same-sex relationships will have lots of different partners who come from different backgrounds, who may have not realised that they...
Yeah, I mean, these things happen,
I don't think that you can say... I just thought it was quite interesting that he said...
It is a bit, you know, you can't do that with every story, like, oh, I'm going through such trauma at the moment, but off screen I've had it before. What are the chances? It reminds me of that.
When I was hiding in the bush that time, do you remember when I ran away and I changed my face and I got rid of that scar? When I was hiding in the bush, I was going out with this guy called Sam.
Yeah, Sam. And he got diagnosed with HIV, did Sam. And in the end, he went back to his family, and it broke my little heart. What if this happens again?
I didn't understand why he brought up the HIV thing. It just seemed like a completely... What did that... It didn't... I thought I was waiting for the...
Todd's already been through trauma in a similar situation before, and he's just saying, I thought that this would work this time.
I'm not saying it's a completely irrelevant point, really, but it kind of was in a way, because it didn't go to anything, did it?
No, not particularly.
It was not like, and then something else happened with that HIV.
I'm going to say, Todd... Stop trying to take people away from their partners, whether same sex, different sex, not the sex that they feel that they actually belong with. Just stay away.
Probably don't.
Stop splitting people up. But it is very Toddish, I would say. That
I just don't know how many. I don't know enough about how often this would happen. I don't know. But
it's not the fact that it is in character for Todd to break up other people's relationships.
He doesn't care.
He's quite
normally.
Destructive.
Why is he crying about it now?
Yeah, but I thought that was a really good performance by Gareth.
I can't remember if I said this on the podcast or just to you, but like I realised that I think I did say it in the last week. So I realised that I've really been thinking of Gareth Peirce Todd as a completely different Todd, but this is totally, like you said, something that old Todd would have done. And he not didn't really care who he had any. He's so so selfish.
Yeah,
and I also said to you
morals.
Today that watching Todd in this story is like watching a show where he is a character that you don't know at all, and Millie is the main person.
Oh yeah, you said that when we were watching today.
I completely understand everything that Millie's doing, even though she's being a cow. everything she's doing, I completely understand her motivations and why she's doing it, and I sympathise with her completely. But what Todd is doing, I cannot fathom it. He seems to be being really naive and willfully stupid about the fact that Theo has still got a family and a wife and kids that he cannot stop caring about, who are not going to give him up without a fight. And he seems to be completely clueless about why they would be upset about it. And he keeps trying to make friends with Millie, like they're, oh, you know, now I'm your... What do you think this is? You're not my stepdad all of a sudden. I don't even know who you are.
I think some of Todd's nasty side or confident side is a bit of a front, and I think we're supposed to be like, deep down he's got a big soft heart, and I do
but he's
I
not
do
got
feel
a soft
sorry.
heart for Millie and her family.
I do have
He's
a
got
lot
a
of
soft
sympathy
heart for
for
Theo
Todd.
because he fancies him.
I do have sympathy for Todd.
I
He's
don't
a
feel like
character
I
that's been
know
on the
Todd
show
anymore.
for 25 years, and
Todd
that counts for a lot.
It's just being an arsehole.
I think he's just very, very naive.
I think the problem is
he's
I
got to an
can't
age,
see-
you know, he's our age, isn't he, as Todd? And he wants
love.
a true love, doesn't he? He
Yeah,
wants his
well,
prince with
He
massive
wants
muscly arms.
his lovely
But-
co-host.
But you can do better. You can do better.
I just
Todd.
think I'm struggling because I cannot see what he sees in Theo. Theo's such a boring lump.
Anyway, Theo brings Millie back there later, and we talk about her. Well, they talk about her coming out of hospital before she was seen because she had a bust up with her mum. Yes, well, exactly. She made her excuses, and she'd said she had cramps at first. She oh no, I was just being dramatic. It was nothing.
Turns out I just needed
and
the
Theo
toilet.
says, "Oh, you can stay here for the night, can't you?" And Theo's very presumptuous. First he's offering her to stay for the night. The next episode it's you can live here. And he doesn't ask Todd's permission, does he? Again.
Theo doesn't
controlling
even really
behaviour.
live there, does he?
I don't know. Do I care what Todd thinks? No.
I don't know if that's... I don't know. This whole thing is really messed up.
Yeah. And then after all this, Todd apologises to Theo for being an idiot with his phone earlier. And Theo forgives him and says, oh, should we have a takeaway then? And I think there was... I can't remember whether I wrote it down later or whether I forgot or what, but Theo does apologise to Todd at some point this week.
Sorry for saying I was going to knock your teeth in.
Considering what he said to him...
If this was a man and a woman...
exactly.
And the man said, "I'm going to knock your teeth in." Imagine if when Gary and Maria had that fight, and he went off, and he was like, "Right, Maria, you try to follow me. I'm going to knock your teeth in." We would all be screaming and saying he's toxic, but
and,
you know,
and Theo clearly is physically stronger and more powerful than
he's
Todd.
beaten Todd up already. I don't know. Are we being blinded and tricked a little bit here?
I don't know.
Because I think he's awful.
We've made our point.
I just don't. If this turns into like, but it's okay if he says that because he's just really sad.
He's really confused.
He's
He's
really
been through lots
upset.
of trauma.
Okay, but
he's a big boy. He should know.
So are so many men who abuse women, and again, we're not getting into the other way around. We know it happens. We've seen it. We know that women abuse men, as well. We're talking about if it was flipped, and Theo was attacking saying to Danielle, I want to be with Todd. If you bother us again, I'll knock your teeth in. No, that wouldn't be acceptable at all.
No, not at all.
And it doesn't matter how sad you are. This is what my point was. There are thousands and thousands of men in this country who commit domestic violence on their partners, and they probably have been incredibly traumatised and had terrible lives and have seen that behaviour when they were children and are carrying that through.
Yeah, but that doesn't
matter.
It doesn't excuse them.
It doesn't matter that the person still needs to be taken out of that.
Taken to task. Yeah,
oh my
exactly.
God.
Anyway, they end up in the bistro later, don't they? There was a lovely scene. The drag artist will come into various other storylines, but the big finale there in the Rovers was him and Glenda duetting, and I was going through Wednesday's episode going, I really, really hope we get a duet between Kristen and Glenda, and we got it, and it was the only song of the evening I recognised as well.
I know.
The Do Ron Ron.
We always get this on this show. I tell you what, maybe that is just like there truly is an entire like different culture in the north. that we don't know about. But there are so many songs that are apparently super famous. I just never heard of them.
I'm never surprised that I don't know songs. Anyway, that was all fun. Todd and Theo go to the bistro, but then Todd go to the loo or something, I can't remember. Theo's left alone at the bar, and then it's just every time that this character appeared, it's like, yes, because then we get to see a de-dragged drag queen, don't we? Did he say what his name was? I don't remember. So this is Kristen with the wig off and looking just like a bloke.
Kristen Wiig, love her.
Is that a person?
She's in Bridesmaids.
Anyway, he
and
kind of starts
with ladies.
He starts trying to tease him, doesn't he? Because he'd kind of called Theo out during his act for being a bit of a drama queen on the phone, over his phone, and then he comes in and is like, "Oh, it's you! Oh, you ruined my act!" And then he starts kind of squeezing his muscles. He's being a bit flirty, but not in a "I really want to, I find you sexy" or anything. He's just like, "Oh, you're a big man."
How could you?
That's just his personality. And Theo says. Theo leaps off his stool, yells at him to back off, storms out.
It's because the drag artist insinuates that Theo fancies him.
Yeah.
And he doesn't like this. He panics. He says, "Get back off." He kind of like, I don't remember if he hit him, but he kind of like
no, he didn't.
Brushed him away, didn't he? He kind of like he makes a gesture.
He makes a gesture
like,
get away from me,
and he panics.
Yeah,
and it's like a really visceral, violent reaction because he's
yet again being
rejecting
confronted.
his sexuality physically. It's really
totally not needed, that scene, but I'm really glad that they put it in. That was
Why
really
do you
clever.
mean it wasn't needed?
No, they didn't need to do it. They didn't have to have it.
I know, but
I'm really, really glad that they did.
I understand what you meant when you said the words, but I don't understand why you said it.
I wasn't.
Why do you think they didn't? Oh, you're saying it was a nice extra.
Yeah, it was a nice extra. I would never have expected that to have seen the drag artist in his civvies, if you like, in the bistro.
You liked it as a DVD extra bonus when you press up, down, sideways, and you suddenly get this hidden scene.
Theo goes back home. He's very hot and bothered. He's out of breath. And then he calls down to Millie and says, we need to go. I'm disgusting. I'm vile. I hate myself. So he started getting all kind of self-loathing. And I maybe felt the slightest bit of sorrow for him here, because this is clearly tapped into something. And he's kind of regressing back to how he was during his conversion therapy, wasn't he? And this is when people were telling him he's disgusting, he's vile, you should hate yourself.
I totally wish I had sympathy for this character, because I have absolutely and utter sympathy for the situation that he's in, and many other people, any other character, my heart would be breaking. This is like the most devastating thing I can ever think of. I can't even begin to imagine how bad you would feel. But Theo, I just don't. I hate him so much, and I'm really cynical about this character because I don't like him, and it feels. And I hate saying this because I don't believe that this is what. I don't want anyone to think that I'm putting someone down who is in this situation. But it does feel a bit like Coronation Street's going, oh no, nobody likes Theo. What can we do to make him feel more? Yeah. People feel sorry for him.
It's clearly not true, because when these episodes were penned, he hadn't even appeared on screen. But probably Julie's still alive and kicking.
I can totally see why it's only just come out that he has the self-harming. That would not become immediately apparent to you until you'd known him for a while. But it just feels like it can't just be a guy who has been gay his whole life and he finally realises. Honestly, that would have been fine and enough. That would have been a really interesting thing to explore. Then we have to have that he's got conversion therapy, and now we have to have that he's self-harming. It's not. None of it's going to make me. He could turn out next week that he's not actually a builder, and he's been spending all his time when he's not with Danielle and Todd curing cancer, and I'd still hate him. I still wouldn't like him.
Right, let's rattle through the rest of this, because we've been talking about this story for a little while.
It just gets obnoxious the more they pour on him to try to make me feel bad for him. The more I start I'm just resisting it.
Right. Friday rolls around and things are back to being good again between Todd and Theo. They're holding hands over breakfast. They're apologising to each other. Then Millie comes down and we learn that Theo has decided to give her a day off school.
You don't get a day off school for being pregnant. I know that because I went to an all-girls school.
She had cramps yesterday for a little bit, so now she's having time off school. And she says, look, I'm better now. I'm away from Mum. My mum puts me on edge and I've just been worked up over nothing. Honestly, I'm fine. And Theo's like, oh, in that case, you can stay here at number 11 for a bit, which is clearly what Millie's been working towards so that she can put that poison in, on the front line.
I think Danielle's dead. I think Millie's killed her.
Oh, it's just
That'd
imagine.
be brilliant, wouldn't it?
I want Danielle to come back. Danielle's fab.
I want Millie and Danielle to stay, and I want Theo to sod off.
Wouldn't it be amazing if this storyline ended where, if we were going down the route of Theo being a genuine 100% villain, that then Danielle and Millie, they would turn into the heroes, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
These people that came out of a family with this abuser, and to have them kind of kick his ass down the street and out of Weatherfield, that would feel like a really satisfying conclusion to this.
I don't think
you cheated on me.
Yeah, I don't think Theo's abusing his straight family.
No, I don't think so. But
again,
it
is his internal homophobia that's making him lash out at Todd, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's horrible.
So anyway, Todd and Billy...
And he's going to have to live with that, though, isn't he? How's he ever going to have a relationship with anybody? It's horrible. I feel bad if he wasn't such an arsehole. Sorry.
Todd and Billy are talking about Theo later and saying how tortured a soul he must be. And then there's Millie too. She's going through so much at the moment. But Todd's like, Theo's got an awful lot on his plate at the moment without all her drama. So Billy says to Todd, just do what you can to lighten Theo's load, because he's having a tough time.
No,
Billy's just enabling
it sends Todd over to try to befriend Millie again, and it just doesn't work because Millie's too clever for him.
Yeah. So Todd decides that he's going to slow things down with Theo and take things at his pace. So he goes back and tells Millie this plan, and she seems to kind of like the sound of it.
Well, he says, we want you to be healthy when you're baby.
Yes, exactly. But then he says, look, I think probably it'd take a bit of a weight off your dad's mind if you went back to live with your mum. And she's like, yeah, okay.
Well, when he says it makes total sense, because he's saying, we've not been pregnant before. Your mum can help you with all the cramps and whatever it is that women have that I don't want to know about.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't want her hanging around cramping his style.
I
think to encourage Millie...
that he was saying it because he didn't want her to be there. I do agree with him that it's probably the right thing for her.
Well, Millie still takes the opportunity to turn it back round on him, doesn't she? Because when Theo comes round, she's like, he was trying to get rid of me. And Todd's like, hang on a minute, this is what it was. I told you I don't want you to go.
Theo's so thick.
I know. And so this causes yet another argument between the pair of them.
Never get between a parent and their kid. I don't understand why this is so difficult for Todd. He's had it demonstrated to him several times now.
Yeah. So he ends up going to the pub, does Theo, and Billy and Summer join him there and try and tell him, oh, you're such a brave guy, oh, you're so admirable. And Billy says, most people in the church despise conversion therapy, just don't listen to the bigots. So it's just more...
And then he goes, why are you saying this in front of Summer? Everyone knows my secrets.
Yes, yeah, that's true, isn't it? He doesn't like the fact that Summer knows about it.
And then
he
goes
says,
and
yells...
He's horrible to Summer. He's like, he's really sinister to what he says to her. He's something like, keep your mouth shut, little girl, or something really...
You're not just making this up now, are you?
Not super derogatory, but like really kind of bordering on misogynistic and dismissive of her. Don't like this guy.
So then he goes back home again and he's having a go at Theo again, but I've been having a sermon from the vicar about conversion therapy and someone knows about it as well. This is a disaster, why does everybody know about it? Then Millie comes in and has a go at both of them as well, and they're saying, this is all Todd's fault, this drama, and you need to back off. So Todd's desperately trying to show Millie that he is a decent person, but she's not interested. Her plan is working perfectly. She says, you're pushing.
Well, yeah, no,
you just keep doing what you're doing because you are pushing my dad away at the moment.
This was a fantastic scene when she's going, you're falling into my trap. The more you argue, the more you're pushing him away. You carry on doing it because you're doing more than I could ever do to break the pair of you up. I love it.
And then at the very end of the episode is when we get the reveal that she is 100% not actually pregnant and she's buying fake baby bumps.
She could still be pregnant and buying a fake baby bump, but it does seem kind of silly.
Yes, unlikely. I'm looking forward to the scene when it all gets revealed.
When they squeeze her stomach and it goes... Do you think they have squeakers in the fake pregnancy tums, or
a
bit of a liability probably?
It could be. What you got in there?
You could have it. You could store things in it. You could have a little hatch on the front.
Yes,
that'd be really useful. You could
like a safe.
I bet people smuggle booze into gigs with their fake bellies. And if they don't...
There's an idea.
Give me
There's
a cut
business
of this business that I've just invented. What would you call it?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
It's a beer belly, surely.
Brilliant! Yes!
Anyway, I just wonder whether it's like going to plop out at some point, or the fact that she's got a fake baby belly makes me feel like
it will be revealed.
It's going to be
in spectacular fashion.
Yeah, I think that there's a comedy potential there. And too right. Go Millie. We're all on Millie's side.
I'm sorry, but I don't like Theo. I've made it clear.
It's really funny, but you know what? It is a story that is causing a lot of discussion. I care about this story.
Yeah, I haven't seen
anyone
anyone
as it's frustrating me
like Theo at all. And I'm really upset for the really important issues that are being raised by his story that are just going to nowhere. Like self-harm. I don't recall them doing a self-harm story.
Oh, they must have done.
I didn't say they hadn't. I just said they didn't recall it. I mean, Katie Harris with the eating the sugar, that was a pretty...
Yeah.
An example of it. But since then... wasting it on this guy that nobody...
It's not coming to mind.
It just feels like there's so much potential for that story and conversion therapy. And then instead of using it for its own purpose, they've used it to prop up a character that's deeply unlikable.
Anyway, look, we've ragged on Theo for far too much recently.
Now it's time to talk about Debbie.
We're going to talk about it. It's time for Debmentia. Another tragic tale of woe. But she was great at the drag night, wasn't she? It was so lovely having her come in, and she kind of burst into the row and was like, "Hello, gays!"
Oh, she did.
That was brilliant. I love her so much. She's the best. Anyway,
what queen?
We didn't see much of this, if anything, on Monday's episode. So do you want to jump into Wednesday and see what our Webby Debster has been doing? She's had a hard week, bless her, again.
So Wednesday,
yes,
Kevin's getting ready to head off for his final chemo.
Hooray.
And he's like, "Thank you, Carl and Abby. I'm glad that you're faithful and true."
Can't believe he's been through all his chemo and Carl and Abby still haven't had a proper snog.
I know.
Like, come on.
NHS is so efficient these days. Right, so there's another awkward exchange between Ronnie and Debbie in the cafe, and she just kind of struggling to hold it together. And Bernie says, "Stay after closing time, have a drink, have a chat, and slag everyone off that we don't like."
Yeah, that was great. I love that.
And she's like, "Yeah, great."
Well, they end up going to the drag night instead, don't they?
Yeah. So we know the time is when Roy's Rolls closes, but the clinic is still open.
Yeah.
Just to narrow it down a little bit.
Too much.
So the drag act, Kristen, makes a beeline for hunky Ronnie, and he kind of makes an escape.
I get the feeling that Kristen likes a bit of a bicep to squeeze.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's his type.
Debbie is just putting on this fake smile because she's like not really happy that he's there, and he's like, "Look, Deb, can I just buy you a drink?" And she's like, No, I need to powder my nose. And so she gets overwhelmed. She heads out back, and Bernie comes and joins her. And there's this really lovely little friendship between them that gets completely spoiled by her reaction to what happens when they go to the hotel later, because Debbie says that we're having this big do at the hotel tomorrow. It's just going to be awkward now because Leanne's doing the catering and she's seeing Ronnie, and they're going to both be there. It's going to be horrible. So Bernie says, "Look, let's go out for a night in the town. I know someone who owns a hotel." So they end up at Chariot Square Hotel, and they find, who should they find there but naughty Brody, the underage secret grandson of Bernie, knocking back beers at the bar.
This is when we had Raphael turn up, isn't
it?
We
love this guy. Everyone loves this guy.
Yes. This is... I don't think he's been mentioned loads on the show, but it feels like he's been building up in mentions, in dialogue. Yeah. And he's been a bit of a fat Brenda, hasn't he? And we never thought that we'd actually get to see him in the flesh, but
she has mentioned him.
Yeah, but there didn't seem to be any particular purpose of him, but I'm just really, really glad that they put him in there. So now Raphael is finally... we can put a face to the name.
And he's played by Dale Vicker. And he was excellent, please. He didn't get
about one line, didn't he?
He didn't even get credit, I don't think.
Oh, that's sad.
But I loved him. I thought he was great. I can really see him being in it more. I love him. Anyway, so he's like, "I'm busy. I don't have time to what's the card these kids."
Yeah.
I get the ID, and she's like, look, they're underage. I can't remember what Raphael said. Like,
no, he said something. Yeah,
something hilarious.
The dialogue for Debbie was great in this. She's like saying, "I've got bras that are older than these two."
And she tries to get them out. Brody is not interested.
No, because he's so cocky, isn't he?
He's such an arsehole.
Yeah.
And she takes the beers off them and throws them on the floor, which is great. And it seems as though she's just being her usual super campy, over the top self, but it's not. The dementia's kicking in here, and she's getting outraged, and
she's getting more and
this
more worked
reaction
up and
is
up, isn't she?
Not Debbie. This is the dementia talking, because she's getting frustrated. She manhandles them. Brody's going, "Oh, I want consumer rights," and Bernie's trying to calm her down after eventually these kids leave, because it's Brody and somebody else. And she's like, "Oh, who do they think they are? I can't believe this. Shame on them, and shame on you, Bernie. You're people like you, the reason that businesses like mine end up going down the pan." Yeah,
so Bernie's clearly here trying to cool things down, because this is... She's been trying to protect Brody for a few weeks now, hasn't she?
Yeah, but she's also can't understand why Debbie is getting so upset. No. And she's trying to placate her.
Yeah, Bernie was saying, "Look, we all did this, didn't we?"
And she's like, "Get out." So she kicks Bernie out as well, and Bernie's like really upset, and bless her, because she does forgive Debbie.
Yeah, the next episode
she's back to normal with her, but I wouldn't. I'd hold a grudge.
That's not like our Bernie.
No. Abby comes home from the drag night and finds Carl. He's playing Ninja Warriors with Alfie, and she's like flirting a little bit when Kevin shuffles downstairs to ruin everyone's night by bringing up cancer again. He's saying he's feeling pretty rough, and then you get Abby saying, "Oh, isn't Carl wonderful with Alfie and looking after him?"
Yeah, and she gives him more doe eyes, doesn't she, as he leaves at the end of it.
Bernie goes to the pub and she talks to Ronnie and says, "Is everything all right with Debbie? What's wrong with her?" No, I think Ronnie asks her this. Like, "What's wrong with her?" And she says, "Look, she's a bit all over the place. I don't know what's going on. This was something was wrong with her." Then we see Debbie by herself at the computer trying to work something out. And Carl...
Yeah, she's getting frustrated. There's whatever it is she's doing on that screen.
She's like me with Soap Week. She's struggling, and then Carl comes over and "Are you all right?"
Every time that Carl comes into a scene, I'm just like, "Go away!" Literally, he can't enter a scene without me saying, "The scene was better before you came in it, Carl. I don't need you." It's funny because they bigged up these 3 new arrivals, didn't they, a couple of months ago? Yeah. James, Theo, and Carl. Yeah. But I'm fairly ambivalent towards James. It's like,
I like
it's James Bailey. Nobody can get too passionate about him.
I think James is the best of the batch.
Yeah. The other two are just really unlikable. And Carl's supposed to be unlikable.
I don't know.
Theo, I'm not sure. Of course he is. He's trying to get his head away with Abby.
I like him more now that you hate him. I find it quite funny.
Literally every time Carl walks into a scene, it just kills the mood for me.
Have you
Leave Debbie alone.
If only that worked on Abby. Have you heard of the phrase "bitch eating crackers"?
No.
It's when someone annoys you and there's nothing, they're not doing anything, they just could be just eating biscuits.
Yeah.
But you just hate them
because
mere
of how
obnoxious.
Makes a nerve on my temples twitch.
Yeah.
That's me and Carl at the moment.
I've got a lot of people. I've got a lot of bitch eating crackers.
I've got to remember that, he's not like Theo. Theo, we're still like, are we supposed to hate him or not? Carl, we're clearly not supposed to be thinking, God, he is the Romeo that Abby needs to whisk her away from a life of drudgery and pant washing for Kevin.
Aren't they both a bit grey? Which is more interesting than anyone else.
Yeah, I know. So, yeah, I like that. It's a bit like Mick, isn't it? Because I
for a while we're like, is this Mick guy?
He doesn't
stick around.
Because I was really all for Mick and Lou when they came in. I thought, yeah, new family, Maudsley Street, brilliant. But then over the weeks, I was like, no, I really don't like Mick. I wish that I did. But then it's like, I'm definitely not supposed to like Mick here. And I think
what gave it away is when he killed
that police officer. Yeah, what was his name again?
That person.
Craigie.
Anyway,
yeah. So I at least I feel kind of safe in my despisal of Carl, and I can't see Carl having a long-term future
I'd
on
love
the
it
show.
if he got given like a 10-year contract.
No, that's not going to
would
happen.
make
I'm
me
not
laugh.
worried about that.
Friday.
But I am sad that the character of Carl Webster, I'm sad in some ways that we've been wondering about
ruined.
him for years. He's been an actual name that's been mentioned on Coronation Street for nearly 40 years, and
he is
like,
the Fat
I wonder what he's
of
like.
The Webster family.
What's he like? And he's horrible. And it's almost like they've ruined a character. Anyway, carry on. Sorry, where were you?
Friday we got piano music. We're still not sure.
Oh yes.
Whether it was
diegetic or not. It's a bit of a woozy, fadey end.
It's a Matt Hilton woozer.
No, but Matt Hilton doesn't usually. He's not known for doing.
He does it more artistically.
He's with Matt Hilton. For me, it's more the camera angles or the shots or the movement.
Woozy,
in the
but
shots.
from slightly above.
having a blurry camera.
Oh, it's always slightly above with
done
Debbie,
to death. Yeah. They can't cut off the legs of the cameras to really get her at eye height. Did you know that sorry, just going off a complete tangent here. I can't remember whether you watched that
Nope.
20 years of Doctor Who. You don't even know what I'm talking about.
I definitely didn't watch
the
it.
20 years of Doctor Who comeback episode, and they said that the reason that modern Daleks are the height that they are
I
now,
did know this.
Yeah, is so that they would match, the eye stalk would match the eye line of Billie Piper.
Yes.
And it's like, I wonder whether Debbie Webster could stare down a Dalek in the same way, because she's quite,
Isn't it funny
herself, isn't
that
it?
the height of the Daleks is to do with how tall
Billie
Piper's eye? It's like why a road is as wide as it is, because that's how wide a Roman horse-drawn chariot was.
Anyway, yeah, so
two very historical facts.
This particular scene, I was like, okay. When it started, I thought, oh, is this going to be a special episode? Because if they start an episode with something arty, like they did for David's car crash episode, or even that episode where Debbie gets told that she's got dementia.
And
do
the
you remember?
David episode.
That's what I just said. I literally just said that.
I was thinking of something else.
When the one where Debbie sits down and is looking into the camera while the doctor's telling her things, but you don't see the doctor. I know that wasn't a whole episode of it, but for the first quarter of it, it's like, oh, here's a bit of an event episode for Debbie. And I thought we were possibly getting that this evening, but we weren't. They just fancied getting the woozy cam out, so I didn't think it was particularly necessary, I suppose.
Well, thank you.
Sorry,
Professor.
carry on.
I wonder whether do the directors get told, they must do, the motif of this character for the next 3 weeks is remember when Adam, do you remember Adam again? I don't think anyone does.
I don't need Adam to come back. I'm perfectly fine.
When he
with
was
Adam's
having
absence.
his PTSD, and for a few different, and they must have been different directors, or were they all the same director?
I don't know.
Interesting. Anyway.
What?
So,
when he had the camera in the face thing?
Motifs, will they go, hey mate, look, I came up with this great idea where we make the camera look like that it's them.
I wonder whether the doctors in Weatherfield, when you go to see the doctors and they're going through asking you what the symptoms are, and they're like, have you got a bad back? Are you short of breath? Do you have trouble going to the toilet? Do you think Dr. Gaddis has got a few extras on her list? Are you experiencing woozy cam? Do you have flashbacks? Are you hearing a strange ringing in your ears?
Yeah, before you started what you were doing when this happened to you, did you hear someone say, there may be scenes in this episode that some viewers find distressing?
Yeah, if any of those are true, then I've got some bad news for you.
Yep, sorry. Okay, right, so we get the piano music, we get the stirring, we get the fading in and out. In the cafe is our Debbie, and Bernie is... She's having a bit of an absence, isn't she? And she slowly snaps out of it when Bernie comes over to ask her for the money. And she just is out of it and rushes to the hotel. And I love this. She rushes into Speed Dial. She doesn't go to the hotel. She goes to Speed Dial to sort out this the catering for the event that she's got. And she runs over to them and she says something like, oh my gosh, it's all gone wrong. And Leanne and Ronnie just completely ignore her like she hasn't said anything.
This is the thing that all us short people have to deal with sometimes, just getting ignored.
Why on earth did she just get completely blanked by Leanne? She has to say it again before Leanne even hears what she's saying.
Leanne is on a different plane than Debbie in Leanne's
She's
mind.
ascended, hasn't she?
She has, yeah.
Because of whole of her programming.
Yeah. But what's going on? Oh no, the hotel's been flooded.
I thought it was going to turn out that she'd done it by leaving a tap on, but apparently no. It's just
I just don't understand why they couldn't have had these scenes at the hotel. It's not like the hotel Was it something
I'll tell you why,
related?
it's because it's above the police station. There's too many scenes in the police station that.
I wonder. Sometimes they do have to make scenes in an odd place because of filming schedules.
Logistics, yeah.
And logistics, exactly. And I wonder, but having it be flooded, it's like, okay, so now we've got the Swain's house has been flooded. Alina's
flat in Romania.
And neither of those have dried up, clearly. So I think this could be the last that we see of the hotel for a good few months. Yeah.
Maybe
it's going to be floating down the M6.
Around inside the hotel going, meow.
Yeah.
Right.
Anyway, for whatever reason, the Corrie gods decided that today's Librarian of the Year awards are going to take place in speed dial.
They never even happen.
No, they don't do that. Tell you what, I think that Yasmin would really quite like the thought that the Librarian of the Year awards took place in speed dial.
She'd be so proud.
She would.
So,
maybe this is a way of getting Yasmin back to the show. She could have been the Librarian of the Year.
She might well be wherever she is, London. So, for everyone's there, okay? Don't ask why, they just are. They explain it, but it's not that interesting. And she keeps forgetting things, does Debbie. Meanwhile, Carl and Abby are having this conversation about how Carl wants her and she doesn't want him and she can't fight him and the love. And they both look over right as the break's about to start to see Debbie standing there and staring at them.
We missed it.
I didn't.
Oh no, I missed it. I was typing up my notes and then you paused it when the break came on and you're like, oh, what do you think of that then?
I said, do you think that Debbie was having another absence?
Yeah.
And you went, what?
Yeah, I literally didn't see Debbie there, but then because I was typing, then we were rewinding it. That was really well done.
That explains why it's possible that Abby and Carl didn't see her themselves.
Why?
Because Michael didn't see it either.
Yeah, they were too busy looking down as well.
Still
looking down her top.
Typing, doing stuff, yeah. Anyway, so she's staring at them, and then Abby's like, oh my gosh, blah, blah.
What did you hear? Like, have we been rumbled here?
She then faints. Debbie faints. And everyone kind of gathers her up, and this is when they have that really great direction of the scene where it's just focusing on her head, and everyone's talking about her, but nobody's really listening to her. And she keeps saying, "No, I don't want to go to the hospital." And they're like, "You've got to go. Let's phone." Kevin's there as well. Go, "Oh, call 111." And then Abby's like, "Do you remember what happened before?"
Yeah, Abby's more interested in knowing, have we got away with this?
And she's like, "No, I don't know. I just suddenly was sitting here. I was going to talk to Carl about something, and now I'm here."
I liked it when she kind of first snapped out of, I don't know what the right word is, of her.
I don't know if I'm using the right. It's a TIA.
TIA, not TMI. That's something else. And she, because Kevin's there next to her, and she snaps out and was like, "What are you looking at?"
Yeah,
didn't she? That was very Debbie.
Okay.
Well,
I know this is. Do you not find this This is terrifying.
Yes, it is.
This is horrible, and
I hope that these don't start to increase in frequency just yet. Because it's been a couple of months maybe since the last one, but we've seen Paul and his deterioration that went over the course of a year and a half or so, and I hope that it's going to be another long period before we get this. I'm not ready to say goodbye to the completely
amazing Debbie Webster.
Not yet. Sue Devaney was on Lorraine the other day, wasn't she?
Lorraine.
And I don't know whether this is giving spoilers away or not.
I was going to say, are you even going to say this?
Okay, no, I won't say it then.
Well, you said it. You started saying it now.
The story isn't going to be over any time soon, basically. And I'm sorry if people are saying that's counting as a spoiler.
No, just like we know when Paul got MND, there was no way that Coronation Street was going to magically cure MND for the character of Paul so that he wouldn't die. We know that Debbie's vascular dementia, it's not going to turn out she doesn't have it. It's diagnosed, she has it. There's a time span on
she's
this
got a
it's not a spoiler to say. We don't know what exactly that is and what it's going to look like, but we all know the facts of the matter.
But it's not going to be happening anytime soon. But in my head, it's still quite a long way away.
I want more Debbie.
She's having a few too many incidents, and I'm like, no, don't have her forget things again. But I don't know whether. Because I looked at I don't know whether it goes up and down, and you have good periods and bad periods, and does it get slightly better and then get a lot worse? I don't know. But I think I would hope. I mean, possibly. I don't know enough about it, but is the stress of knowing that she has it and the stress of keeping the secret, is that making things worse for her? Because when she's getting frustrated at a computer, it's not just that she's getting forgetful, it's like, I'm keeping this massive secret, and now she's got the support of everybody, because she will, then maybe she can relax a little bit more, and she'll be able to have a bit of better quality of life. I don't know. Hopefully
anyway, everybody's wittering on, and she doesn't want to. She's like, snaps at them and says, "There's no point in me going to hospital because I know exactly what is wrong with me. I've got dementia."
Vascular dementia.
And then she tells them exactly what that is. And she also reveals that Carl knew all along, and obviously that causes a bit of a drama.
Yeah, Kevin gets
jealous.
He's jealous of his brother for knowing about.
He's like, why didn't she tell me? I don't know, Kevin. The cancer might have made it awkward.
I've been in this show for 40 years.
He's only just been in it. He only just got cast the other day.
What? I don't think Debbie says. The only reason that Carl knows, she didn't divulge it to him.
She hasn't said.
He found out, didn't he? He discovered the letter.
He went snooping, the little sod.
He wasn't her secret confidant. But I wonder how difficult this is going to make Carl's scheme now to try and get Debbie's money. Because he's been banking on the fact that he knows something and he's been able to act in particular ways and be a bit more sneaky. But he can't now.
This might be a real test of how evil he truly is, because he could use this to drive a wedge between Debbie and the rest of the family by making a big deal of the fact that he knew before everyone else did, and try to big himself up and minimise them.
Yeah, it's certainly in his interests that he gets Debbie to himself.
I don't know if I could stand and stomach watching a Webster fallout with Debbie hating everybody.
No, but if this is going to be a long-running storyline, it's going to happen. We had plenty of fallouts between Billy and Paul before that particular story was over.
Right, so Debbie then, she's like, right, this is what's happened to me, right, I'm going. She gets up and she falls back down again.
Oh, that was really well done as well, yeah, and kind of a bit of a surprise, wasn't it? She stands up and then just plops down.
Well, I was like, Debbie, I was like, she doesn't need to go to the hospital, she knows what's wrong with her. She already had that before where she fell down in the alleyway, she's fine. And then they were like, no, she probably should go to A&E. So Abby takes her in Debbie's car, and then they get to the waiting room, and they make a big deal about Abby giving Debbie her keys back. And I thought, why do we know this? Something's going to happen with this. And so then they start to talk about Ronnie, and Debbie's saying he's better off with Leanne. I don't need... And also this was so sweet too, when she says to Abby, I don't want people to boss me around and treat me like a kid. I don't want my brothers to treat me like a child. Don't let them do that to me.
But it's going to happen, isn't it? She is going to be babied in the end, because that's where her mind will be. It's really tragic.
She doesn't want to know that's going to happen. You don't have to treat someone like a baby.
I mean,
No, you don't have to treat someone like a baby. So Abby's like, okay, I get you, and then they kind of bond over laughing at Kevin being a control freak, and Abby's like, no, I will keep them in line. So Debbie goes in by herself to talk to the doctor, and she gets told she's had a mini stroke, which is a TIA. She's going to get referred to the clinic. She's not allowed to drive. She's got to go to see her GP.
And they've said it could be a precursor to a full-on stroke.
This is what happened to me.
Watch out for that.
This is what they thought I had. This is exactly what they told to me. You might end up having a stroke. We've got to do a brain scan. You can't drive.
Yeah. This is when you just had you had a funny turn a few years ago, didn't you?
Yeah, I had woozy cam. It was very weird. Yeah.
When were you out on
I
the
had
deck
sound
anyway?
effects.
I was at school and you told me. Yeah.
I was typing and I couldn't, and the words just didn't. I couldn't see them properly. They were like all. I couldn't no matter what I did. If I squinted and I closed one eye, closed the other eye, they just weren't. The words didn't make sense, and I was writing a sentence and it was nonsensical. It was so horrible and weird. Well,
that was a long time ago, and it hasn't happened.
Well, I didn't have it. They said it was just a weird migraine.
Right.
So anyway,
goodness for that.
So yeah, but it's scary. I wasn't actually weirdly not worried at all. But for Debbie, this is serious.
Yeah.
So Carl and Kevin turn up at the waiting room to boss everybody around, and they go to get Debbie, and she's gone. She's got herself into the car park, and she's looking at her face.
I really like those little touches.
I didn't even notice that you'd written this.
Yeah, she was talking to Abby earlier, wasn't she, when they were waiting to go in, and she was saying, I don't look like I've had a stroke. She's kind of worried. She's like, not my face, not my... Or did she say it to the nurse? I can't remember.
She said
She's
it
like,
to the doctor.
I don't want to have a stroke because...
Yeah.
And Debbie doesn't come across as a particularly vain person.
She
but you
cares
don't have
about
to
her.
be.
She cares about her appearance, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, nobody wants to think that they're going to, lose their looks or that their illness is going to cause them to deteriorate physically. But so many illnesses do.
Some things unsettle people.
Yeah. So when she was sitting there in the driver's seat, looking at herself in the rear view mirror,
I didn't realise that's what she's doing.
Yeah, that was really nice.
She's patting her face to see, like.
Do I look the same? Do I look the same as I remember
Debbie.
myself looking?
And then she tears off her wristband, and her phone's ringing, and she ignores it. Starts the engine. We don't know what has happened.
No, she's
still
disappeared.
I
love that. I said in the short, the fact that at the end of tonight's episode, we still don't know where she is. That's quite exciting to me. I'm sure she'll be fine quite quickly.
I'm really sure she's fine.
But I don't know.
She might be upset. I don't
Whenever anybody goes missing, they'll turn up on the bench in Victoria Gardens, won't they?
She might sleep there, not even realise. Oh, God. Debbie.
I hope she's found on Monday, but Monday's episode is I'm going to say there's a trailer for it.
And
I'm not even going to say no. It's not about Debbie's story.
So I'm not sure if she might.
So I don't want to say anything more. But
no need to.
But that particular story that's going to be happening on Monday. I don't think it's going to converge, but maybe it will. I don't know. It's good that Monday's episode might not just be of note because of that storyline. It feels like if they're going to make a big event of Monday's episode, then this could be
part of it.
Yeah.
So they don't know where she is. So Kevin's getting upset, and he's also annoyed about not knowing about the diagnosis. Mm-hmm. So Abby and Carl in the garage talk to each other, and she's like, "Oh, I do have feelings for you, but I'm with Kevin. So Carl, you're just my brother-in-law, and I love you like that." I don't know, Abby. I've read stories about brothers-in-law. Mm-hmm. I think it's fine. Anyway, what was the World of Weirdos? Who said that? They were talking about World of Warcraft, weren't they?
Oh,
was it Debbie?
No, I thought that was Kevin talking about. I don't know. I just wrote down World of Weirdos there because I couldn't remember. Not very helpful. Yeah. So how did you enjoy the Debbie action this week on the whole?
Well, I mean, I'm sad that Dr. Gaddis didn't tell her more about her.
Dr. Gaddis, I don't know what they're doing with her this year.
I think she got too popular for them. Maybe she's too expensive.
It's all our fault, isn't it? Yeah. We're getting halfway through the year now, and Dr. Gaddis, how many times do you think we've seen her in 2025?
Twice.
Yes, twice. Dr. Gaddis made an appearance, one in January, one in February, and that's it. And
is that what you were just looking up?
No. I was just putting the poll on our banging bog standard of Ovens poll because I can't schedule those tweets. The fact that there is this massive medical storyline going on, and Dr. Gaddis we've not seen hide nor fabulous hair of her.
I mean, it makes sense, Michael. Why would Dr. Gaddis be Debbie's doctor when she doesn't live on the street, does she?
Doesn't matter. And we didn't get to go and see when Dee-Dee took Laila for her jabs. We didn't get to see Dr. Gaddis, although we did have a little bit of a callback to Daniel taking Bertie for his jabs those few years ago.
Stab him.
You'll remember that scene. Anyway, yeah, I thought that was fairly good stuff, but I just can't stand the lingering affair.
I don't mind that. I think this is both these stories frustrating at times, yeah, but that's why
it's still compelling.
Enjoying them a little bit.
Okay.
It's like getting an itch, isn't it? Scratching it.
It's a bit. Right, we had a little bit of the Maria storyline. Well, Mondays was quite a lot of it, but it kind of fizzled out a little bit after there. And like I said, I'm going to throw in all the Swyler stuff because Kit is the linchpin which holds all of this together. And Lisa is back home from work in her first scene on Monday. I think she had an early start and then she comes home midway through the day or something. I wasn't particularly sure about the timings of this. Anyway, she's going to do some working from home, and they're still talking about these houses, aren't they? And the idea that they might buy number 6 Coronation Street is getting ever closer to becoming reality, because what are the chances? But the price for that house has been slashed by 5k. So Carla's like, oh, we could go and have a look at that, couldn't we?
Can I say my mind is boggled by this? Because woman, Lisa, was looking at a house. What was it? How much was that house?
It wasn't it 3/4. Excuse me for my little.
It's like 750,000.
Yeah, 3/4
right?
of a million. I was going to say. I don't think number 6 Coronation Street is worth quite as much as that.
I don't think that was in a budget, right? Obviously, but I do think that a factory owner and a detective inspector could probably afford not to worry about a terraced house being reduced by £5,000.
Maybe. But she has just spent a lot of money on getting a kidney transplant, hasn't she?
Well, then they can't afford to move. They either can afford to move or they can't.
Yeah.
Stop looking at cottages, Lisa.
Maybe that house is a bit more expensive because it was the residence of the great Gigolette Jeff.
Maybe they.
What was his show name? The Great Marveloso, or I can't remember. He had a stage name, didn't he? Joe was like, "Don't ask me, I've got no idea."
No, I think that they're probably knocking the price down by 5k because the attic's full of haunted dolls.
Yes. Yeah, they've been out there and they've just
Ollie's
discovered
like,
Jeff's
I
collection.
am not taking them. Gran didn't take them. They are yours.
Anyway, so Lisa isn't particularly enthused by this idea because, as we know, she'd prefer to get away in the country somewhere. But she agrees to go and have a look anyways. But when Carla turns up at the house for the viewing, it turns out Lisa isn't there and she can't get hold of her on the phone either.
And Alia's knocked because she's given up her...
Yeah.
I don't understand why she's given up her lunchtime. Where's the estate agent? Also, you know this woman. I just say, Carla, here's the key, love. Let yourself in, have a look. I'll see you later.
I know. I think we can trust her at this point.
What's she going to do? Break in and squat there? Refuse to leave?
But anyway, Carla tries to ring Lisa, but she's completely zoned out in the cafe somewhere. She hears that to get all the screen time, that's the done thing, isn't it? Having a bit of a...
Yeah, Lisa's morosely staring into space.
Yeah, but Daniel's there as well, isn't he? And he tries to engage her in conversation about J.K. Rowling writing all her books in a cafe, and he says something like, he makes a comment like, these days, I can't remember what he says, but he makes some kind of comment about J.K. Rowling not being quite so beloved as she was when her books first hit the big time. Yeah. Anyway, Lisa doesn't want to listen to Daniel at the moment, and then Brody comes in. Dylan's there as well, and Daniel makes a couple of sarky remarks towards Brody, which not too professional because he's there obviously doing his marking in the cafe as all us teachers do.
Yeah.
And then Brody comes over and purposefully knocks his tea over Daniel's papers. Lisa jumps up, threatens to take Brody into the station for harassment, and Brody's just like, "Oh yeah, here I am. Yeah, arrest me, officer." And so he's really, really winding Lisa up here. Meanwhile, you got Maria coming back from the station because if you remember last week, the big cliffhanger was that she was being arrested after
battering Lou to death.
Battering Lou with a glass table or something like that.
Well, she pushed her and she fell through it, and it hurt.
It hurt somewhat, but she's worried how this is going to look in the papers.
Do you think when if you attack somebody, you know when you go to hospital and they have that chart of the smiley faces to ask you how much in pain you are out of 1 to 10, do you think that the police are like, right, Lou, out of 1 to 10, how sad are you that Maria pushed you through a table? 10, right, arrest her.
Anyway, so Maria's getting home, like I said. She's insistent that it was Lou who reported her, but he says, "Look, you don't know that.
Gary?
Gary does, yeah." And Maria's like, "Well, I'm going to go and confront her."
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you got Brody still winding Lisa up in the cafe, and then Carla comes in. Brody pushes Lisa too far, saying, "Well, you're always arresting the wrong people. That's what gets coppers hurt." And then Lisa flips him onto the table and cuffs him. And she is just falling for his bait, hook, line, and sinker, isn't she? And yet again, I'm watching Lisa on Monday saying, "What are you doing, woman?"
She's a renegade cop. Thank you very much.
But she's not a renegade cop. But they certainly seem to be turning her into one. She's realising that it's getting Kit all the action, isn't it?
It's because
the birds love a renegade cop.
It's because of the laws and like you can't show smoking to impressionable children. She can't sit at the bar like moodily smoking a cigarette and drinking neat whiskey to prove. That's how normally if you're a police officer you show that you're affected by your job. She hasn't got that outlet.
No, so she just has to take it out on the local galleys.
She's got to beat up teenagers.
Yeah, honestly, the more that they do this to Lisa, I'm thinking
her.
She is going to get the sack one of these days.
I am waiting for... I mean, Bostallo's pulling for her, though, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. He is a little bit, isn't he?
We thought he was scary and glaring, but he actually has a heart of gold.
So Maria turns up at the salon and starts laying into Lou. Gary tries to calm her down, and Lou says, look, it wasn't me, it was Brody who shopped you, so leave me the hell alone. Speaking of Brody, he's being let into custody. And I found this quite interesting. We don't see the custody set too much, do we?
It's not new.
I know, I've written here in the notes, is that a new set?
We saw that years ago.
Yeah, it's been there, but it's very rarely used. I remember quite often they'll just bring anybody in through the front door. But we saw them take them in the side entrance. I thought it was somewhat remarkable.
Because when we...
maybe not
was it when we went with Conor McIntyre? Or was it when we went with...
Charlie, I don't remember.
But we got to see the whole thing, and it literally, behind the bottom of that place where the police thing is entirely made up like it really is a real police station. They've got the booking area that you saw. They've got a cell. They've got the interview room. It's insane how much we still haven't seen that regularly, considering that
it's
there
a
are
permanent set there.
Yeah,
I know what you mean. So Brody's getting signed in by the custody sergeant, but when they empty his pockets, they find a tin of tablets, and Lisa's like, "Oh, it's drugs. It's
delicious drugs.
Lovely, delicious, tasty
LSD, is
yeah.
it? Or speed or something?"
And Brody refuses to say what it is. I can't remember. Did you know at the time? Did you imagine that it was his seizure tablets, his epilepsy pills? No, I thought that that's what it was. But how much is it his fault what ended up happening to him because he didn't say what these things were?
I literally cannot believe that they do not do an intake where they ask you, do you have any medical conditions that we should be aware of?
Surely they would.
I wonder if she fast-tracked him because he was annoying her and she thought that, he's been here before, just put him in. You've got the details. The desk sergeant...
Yeah, he has, hasn't he?
Did like, ask questions, but obviously she didn't do a very good job. It was
really, really shoddy, and I don't blame Lou for going off on one later. This was a poor work practice.
It wasn't Lisa's fault, it was the desk sergeant, because they're supposed to be in charge of the intake, not Lisa.
Yeah, but Lisa, Brody shouldn't have been arrested. He was goading her, but he didn't do anything
many failures
to deserve being brought in.
This feels like one of those true crime or like disaster documentaries where they list all of the things that went wrong simultaneously.
Yeah. So meanwhile,
I did think it was a neat touch that Brody, who is obviously this very tough guy who doesn't want to be vulnerable, would put his medication in like a cool little tin so that nobody knew that he had something wrong with him. Like, that's definitely a sort of thing that a teenage kid would do to kind of like hide it from people.
Yeah, he doesn't want to show his weakness, does he? So you got Lou, meanwhile, going to see Gary, who apologises for Maria's behaviour. Gary's being a doofus, isn't he? He's being like... He knows that his wife doesn't...
like Lou.
Yeah, wouldn't spit on her if she was on fire.
No.
And yet he's still going around apologising for Maria's behaviour. If Maria could see that, she'd flip
it would make it worse,
she'd have his guts for garters. Gary, what are you doing? Do you think that are we going to get some kind of full-on affair between Gary and Lou?
Gary's really had his head turned by Lou. He really has. He's got this real massive soft spot for her.
Yeah, but that's all it is. It's soft, but he's not. Because when she later on tries to give him a snog, he jumps up. He doesn't reciprocate, does he? Is he really that naive that he can't see what's going on here? He is leading her on unintentionally. Like, you don't socialise, you don't fraternise with your wife's enemy.
The drama.
It's for the drama. Imagine whether she's going to find out. Come on, Gary. And I know he's Mr. Nice Guy, but seriously.
Mr. Nice Guy and he killed one bloke.
He was asking for this,
Don't ask me what I did in Ukraine.
So Brody is in his cell next, and he's calling Lisa corrupt. I'm not going to stop him there at this point.
Can't you arrest someone he was being annoying?
I think she just say breach of the peace, possibly.
I think what did he do?
Well, he was just being Larry, wasn't he? He was just kind of...
he assaulted
He assaulted Daniel's marking with a cup of tea.
And that was like that takes ages. Like when you bring books home, I'm so scared and paranoid that I'm going to spill something.
Tell you what, if somebody spilt something over my literacy books this year, I would
just cry.
I'd be the next one being arrested because there'd be a murder that had happened.
Murder.
Anyway, Brody's in his cell making a bit of a fuss, and and Lisa. I quite like the shots there because he's one side and then Lisa's just there with her back to the door, isn't she? And just like almost laughing at him. She's just like rolling her eyes when he's saying, "Oh, I need my medicine," and she's like, "Oh yeah, whatever." Yeah. And again, like, this is so unprofessional. And I guess that cops do this, or do they? Is this just a thing in dramas where a police officer just completely ignores the possibly genuine cries for help? This is a child.
This is really difficult, okay? Because there are people that genuinely suffer because there are many more people who are going to trick the cops and lie to them and say all kinds of stuff.
I suppose you can't be gullible if you're a policeman. You must hear this all the time.
You will always be cuffed. You could be an old granny who's clearly not going to do anything. You have to put the cuffs on because people make out, no, you don't have to. I'll be fine. You don't have to. As soon as you break the protocol, people take advantage. But this is why you stick to protocol and don't just.
I think just in case any ardent Lisa fans are going to call me out on this, I think that when he's asking for his meds, she's gone at this point, hasn't she?
Yeah, she does not hear this.
No, she doesn't hear it.
He thinks he shouted because he's now having
that she's still there.
No, he doesn't realise that he didn't shout it because he's losing consciousness.
Right.
So he's like he's saying, "Oh, I need my medication," but she's gone.
So she didn't hear that, but
she wasn't up for a chat. That's not her fault.
Okay. So yeah, he has another seizure and a fall over, a bit like Debbie at the end of the week. Maybe they can be in a support group together or something. And
well, I mean, because he hasn't. This is difficult. I mean,
he's not told anyone that it could happen. So
this was Monday, wasn't it? And we did have somebody with a bit of a medical background who isn't epileptic watching with us, and she did say,
"Oh yeah, that's right.
We
talked about that.
She did say, I'm not exactly sure whether this would really happen immediately. Like he was taking his medication regularly before now, but she doesn't have epilepsy. We don't know. Like, would you just take them in the evening or the morning?
Yeah.
And you wouldn't just because, and also these pills, they don't stop you having a seizure if you're about to have one, do they?
I don't think so.
I thought it's regular medication, and if you don't take them,
it's not like an inhaler.
No, that's what it felt like. They were kind of insinuating it had the same power as an inhaler.
Yeah, or a bit of an EpiPen for when you're having an anaphylactic shock.
Is it wrong? But at this point, it would be probably a bit too late to take anything.
I don't know. Quite possibly. Anyway,
but this is the trouble, though. Is this misinformation about how epilepsy works, or is it not?
I haven't seen people complaining about it. So.
And I know that we did get told off for saying that people's epilepsy was plot induced last week, which was just I get what you're saying, but we like. It was just a joke.
Just a joke. Right, so back to Lou and Gary. They're now moved on to the beer sharing stage. Gary, you utter plank. Come on.
Well, I mean, it was plausible deniability because she asked for a beer. He didn't offer it to her.
So she says, "Look, I'm really frightened about losing the girls."
She's also flirting with him on
purpose. She's totally, she is. She's just playing. Yeah, exactly. She says, because at this point we've learned that Sally and Tim have reported them to the social services, haven't they?
Yeah.
So she's kind of frightened about this, and then her phone rings. It's a withheld number, so she ignores it. She also
obviously Brody from the
exactly. And then he wants to phone Liam, so he gets his phone out and she has a look at the phone code that he puts in the PIN number.
1234
to get into it. So when he's in the loo, she takes the opportunity to go into his phone and text herself something.
She did this so slickly.
This was very slickly done. There's two characters this week that were doing naughty things with their friends' phones, wasn't it?
What's the other?
Always take them with you. Especially if you go into the loo.
If you go
might
to
be
the
in there
loo,
for a
you're going
long
to get
time.
bored, aren't you?
Yeah, he must have been going for a number one.
I know,
He must
but
have
this is the advantage of being a woman. Everyone says, guys are better because they can hose it wherever they want. Women, we get to have a little sit down and we can check our emails.
Yeah. We can, boys can look on their phone when they go.
When they're standing up, you might drop it down the toilet. Are you mad?
I know we take our life in our hands.
Risky, isn't it?
It is. Yeah,
This is why men are very, very risky. You'd never get a woman holding a phone over the toilet like that.
Anyway, so she's texted herself something. So this is all part of her plan. Back at the office...
Still hasn't come to fruition
No, it
yet.
hasn't, has it? You're right. Back at the office, Kit's asking Lisa about what happened with Brody in the cafe, and he's like, well, I've spoken to Daniel, and he says you massively overreacted.
Daniel, you weedy little grass.
Lisa's like, I don't care. I'm just going to let him stew for a little bit and then let him out. But then they hear from Jess
comes in
that the seizure has been going on, so they have to rush down to the cells. But next
bad.
time we see Brody, he's all right. But he's telling Kit that he did shout after Lisa that he needed these tablets and what they were for. And Lisa's like, no, I didn't hear anything. Which, like you said, she didn't. But Kit doesn't believe her. He tells her to go home, sort your head out. You're a menace to be around. And I don't think that you can do that to your superior officers in the police.
Well, isn't it a testament to how messed up she realises she is that she just goes?
I would find it quite interesting, and I don't know how this could actually happen or whether it will or whether it could or whatever. It would be a really interesting dynamic if he gets a promotion.
And she gets a demotion.
If she gets a demotion, which, both of those happening are not necessarily likely.
Do you know?
But it would be interesting if even he got a promotion and they were
equals,
exactly. In
rank. Do you know how they do that if you get demoted as a cop?
What?
They make you wear your dress uniform.
Yeah.
And you have to. The police officer has to give the person who's demoting them their white gloves, and then they slap them around the face with it.
Is that right? How it works? Is that okay? I'll look forward to that scene then. I'd really like to see the power dynamic if Kit were her superior in some way.
She would rather die.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder whether she could get demoted to uniform.
Transferred.
She could, but then uniform isn't necessarily lower than the detectives.
I literally don't know anything about it. Don't even talk to me about it.
Anyway, I don't know. We'll have to see whether that happens.
I don't even know the difference between any of they all sound the same to me.
So Lisa gets home, tells Carla what happened with Brody, and she's really shaken up by this whole affair. She realises that she's taken this too far. Brody could have died. I could lose my job here. I should never even arrested him in the first place. But, I said it was for breach of the peace, but really it was just pushing my buttons and I lost it.
Why? Look, what's the point of being a cop if you can't arrest annoying people? I don't understand. I just own it.
It's like driving through red lights, isn't it?
Yeah, you just put your lights on and go where you want.
Yeah. So then she gets a text from Costello who says, I need you to come down to my office. And we were sad that we didn't get to see him do any talking during Craig's memorial last week, but he got a few lines on Monday's episode, which basically... was him grilling Lisa in the soft interview room and saying, well, we are checking the CCTV from the cells, and in the meantime, you're on restricted duties and you got to see a counsellor. I don't know how long it takes them to check the CCTV because she's not back to away from the deaths by the end of the week, is she? I remember reading
something about the police only have time to check 5 minutes of any hour of CCTV or something.
I don't know.
Stupid number.
Seems like it's quite important and it might be worth spending the time to do this anyway.
No, hang on a minute. I look, police corruption, bad, right? I'd rather they spent their time solving crimes rather than spying on each other.
Get the work
This is a waste of time, this is. I'll do it then.
I suppose now that Craig's not here anymore.
No, Jess has got to do it now.
Yeah, poor Jess. She's now the...
Dog's body of the...
Yeah, basically.
What's it called? Precinct.
No, don't call it precinct.
What is it then?
It's a police station, isn't it?
Station.
We call it in this country. Precinct in Coronation Street is something else that we didn't actually get to see this week.
Well, she can be the dog's body of Sweet Enough.
Gary and Lou, meanwhile, are back to their beers in the flat, and she's talking about, I guess I'm going to get used to being a single mum. Oh, woe is me. Who'd have me? She
starts going, who would date me? It's like, hang on, love, right? What? Just hold your horses here a minute. What are you talking about going on dating apps for when your husband's not even had his trial yet? You don't need a boyfriend. You need a solicitor.
I thought that when she went to see him last, she kind of said, I can't do this
I know,
anymore.
but you don't need to move on that fast. She probably even hasn't even washed the sheets since he went in.
I don't know whether she's genuinely worried about this or whether she's
fishing.
just part of her her ruse to get him to come and have a snog with her. So anyway, she gives him a kiss on the lips and he pulls away and says, look, you need to go. I'm with Maria. And she's like, I won't say anything, I promise, as long as you do what I tell you. So yet another blackmail plot is coming up now in Coronation
Gary's
Street
like,
with Lou.
Listen, love, you don't know what you're getting into here because Maria puts hidden cameras.
She does, doesn't she? Yeah.
She probably already knows.
Maria comes home and finds that Gary's packing his bits up. He's gonna go to see his mum. He's gonna go and see Anna for a little bit. He's clearly got his head's all over the place after tonight's developments. And Maria clocks the bottles there and says, "Has Lou been around here? Have you slept with her?" And he's like, "No,
no, I just drank 6 beers.
Nothing happened. Lou didn't need to." And she says, look, Lou doesn't need to try and split us up because you're doing it all to yourself.
Oh,
so
no.
Any Gary and Maria fans up there, sorry, it's looking a little bit on the rocks at the moment, but I'm sure it will be fine.
He literally packs his bags and walks out.
Yeah, in the lounge, of course. Let's just remind ourselves where all Coronation Street people do their packing. So Gary's gone for the time being, and Lou, meanwhile, is in the kitchen. Not kitchen, cafe, Roy's kitchen. Having a look at this message that she sent herself earlier. It said, I want you, when can I see you again?
Yeah, this is the fake one from Gary.
Yeah, so I can see there being a scene in the salon probably one day where she leaves her phone open on the side for Maria to discover.
She'll do that, yeah.
Or even like Audrey might discover it. That could be quite interesting. And then Audrey's like, do I tell Maria or not?
Yeah, that would be more convincing, wouldn't it, if it came from Audrey?
Yeah, exactly.
Right, you missed out a bit where Bostello is talking to Lisa.
Oh, didn't I talk about
and
that?
tells her that that a complaint was made about her, and I'm not telling you who it was. And he also says, I don't want to lose you, but if you keep on like this, I won't have a choice. And there's a lot more development of the relationship between her and Bostello, because we knew from before that he was the one that had to ring her to let her know that Becky had died.
Yes.
Right, so he obviously really actually cares for Lisa and wants her to, go back, get her mind sorted out.
Get your head straight.
It's not just a boss talking to his subordinate. He is genuinely, as a friend, saying, get counselling.
You are right. I did miss that earlier.
Because then Lisa goes to Kit's flat. Yeah,
and accuses him of reporting her, and he's like, well, yeah, I did.
I think
you got a vendetta against Mick.
I did it.
She's like, well, you're a fine one to talk. We're both bent covers now, aren't we? I turned a blind when you had Mick beaten up, and what's going on?
Now you're throwing me under the bus.
Yeah, exactly. I'd watch my back if I were you, mate, she says. He doesn't seem particularly bothered by this. I think that his attitude is very similar to Brody's, isn't it? People make threats against you, and he just likes to smirk away, yeah. And that was basically it. I mean, I've written here in the notes a bit about what Carla and Lisa got up to during the drag night.
Sexy bums in showers.
Get your sexy bum in the shower, says Lisa to Carla. I'm sure that the Swala fans enjoyed.
Carla tells Lisa to get a sexy bum in the shower.
That's right. I'm sure
you've got to get this right, Michael. This is important.
And they just end up having a lovely time at the drag show, don't they, really? They're just very cosy with each other.
I will go to counselling.
Yes, it's for the best. Carla's proud of it.
She's like, listen, you've got to go to counselling before you start seeing haunted people walking around wearing other people's coats.
Yeah, that was kind of
that can really that can happen if you're not careful.
Good stuff. Yeah, but just bizarrely dropped midway through the week. I didn't particularly mind.
I kind of when you started reading about it, I completely because nothing happened about it on Friday. I was like, oh
yeah, I had slightly somewhat
forgotten that they were even in it.
But I just remember my overwhelming impression of Monday was like, Gary, what are you doing?
Gary, you silly sod.
You're leading this on. You know how rugged and handsome and manly you are, and women can't resist you.
Imagine if Lou saw him in that plastic outfit he had.
The gold lama.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Right, let's rush through the rest. Come on, we've got DDFM next.
I know.
This was mostly boring.
Oh no! I found this really interesting.
Oh, okay,
I'm really like what I was sighing because I didn't know how to condense it.
Okay.
So
do you mind if you talk? Can I just switch the light on because we started recording a couple of hours ago with the light off because I thought it might heat us up a bit too much, and now we're literally sitting here recording in the dark.
Anyway, I will talk.
You talk. I'm just gonna.
So Leila's got croup, and it's annoying apparently. And Dee-Dee is upset about it. And she's also saying that she's going to be on this podcast or radio to talk about her birthing experience and raise awareness. And she looks after Laila.
Hang on a minute, sorry.
Leela. Which one is it? Leela?
Laila. I have spelled it 2 different ways here, but it doesn't matter. You know what I'm talking about.
She looks after Laila while he's having a sleep, and she's really lovely with her.
And then, this week is basically, and we saw it before, but it's just a continuation of her not being able to resist the motherly instincts that's clearly there.
So he's impressed. She finds out the podcast has been cancelled, but she goes and has dinner with Daniel, and everyone now thinks that they're going to start dating because they had lunch together.
We've talked about this before.
And she says, "Oh, the podcast was cancelled," and he says, "Just go on Amy's radio. She'll have anyone." So Wednesday, Dee-Dee gets a letter that went to the shop instead of to her flat, and it turns out that Laila's
supposed to be having her jabs in half an hour's time. Good job she found that letter when she did.
So she rushes about, and then she has to take her instead of James, because James is somewhere else.
Yeah.
And he when he comes home, he's like, "Oh, poor baby, is she all right?" And she's like, "Oh, she hurt herself."
Yeah, she's just been having a lovely time doting all over this kid.
Yeah. So she goes off to her interview, and she sees Daniel on the way, and she's like, "I don't know if I can do it." And she's like, he says, "Yes, you can."
They're clear. They must be building up to something here. There's no reason at all, apart from we need to give Rob Mallard something to do, to have Daniel be sniffing around Dee-Dee quite so much if they weren't going to go down some kind of romantic
I just
plot.
don't like them. I don't like the idea of them together because he would not cope with a woman who was actually more intelligent than him.
I know, totally.
All of his girlfriends have actually been more intelligent than him in slightly different ways.
Just not in the academic sense.
Not like they haven't read Shakespeare, but they were always... Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Tell you what, if James doesn't want Laila christened, I'm pretty sure that Daniel wouldn't be up for it either if they were together.
Yeah, Daniel would rather set the baby on fire. So, we get this very arty fade in and out of Dee-Dee recounting her experience.
It's
skipping through.
Just little sound bites, isn't it?
Because we already know the story, and she's just telling it the same thing again. And she says, if it's not right, you speak out. Black women are treated badly, and we're dying because of it. And you have to speak up for yourself. And James is like finding this hard to listen to anyway.
Yeah, because it's not just fading out of Dee-Dee, is it? And Amy. It's also the people listening in at home.
And then she says, "Me and my girl deserve to live as much as anyone else." So on Friday,
that's the slip of the tongue that's the catalyst for the semi-drama on Friday.
On Friday, Dee-Dee says to James, "Oh, did you hear the interview? Like, I slipped up because I said my little girl. I'm sorry if that upset you." And he said, "Look, it's fine. Everyone makes mistakes, and we there are loads of different terms. Like, one of them was tummy mummy, and like bio mum." And he said, "Look, we're all learning, and you've got to work out what it's fine. I'm not upset." And she says, "Oh, that's great." And then she goes to church. When she comes back, she says, "I'm gonna make some changes. I'm not taking..." Because he's like scared and thinks she's gonna say, "I'm taking the baby back." But he says, no. She says, "No, I'm focusing on the future. Like, I've joined this women's group at church, and I love it. I just need some more support," which is quite hilarious because she had everybody rallying around her when she had Alia and Sarah Louise. Yeah. What about them? They're your friends. They're better friends than a lot of people I know.
And I bet they don't go to the women's group at church.
I bet they wouldn't. No. So she says, "Oh, I'm going to be the best auntie I can be, and I can't wait to take Laila to the church."
Yeah, all the colours and all the music and record scratch moment here for James
says,
Bailey.
"No, I don't want Laila getting involved in any of that." And she's like, "What?"
This is really interesting.
I love
development.
this.
I didn't see this coming. Yeah, it does seem like a really
obvious.
I don't want to say that obviously it should have gone that way, but it's a really clever. It's not obvious. It's that it works really well. And James hasn't. I don't think James has particularly shown his or talked about his own religious beliefs before. I'm sure that at some point in the past we got the impression that the Baileys did go to church, but we know that Dee-Dee really found her faith when she was over in LA. They didn't grow up a massively Christian household.
No, but don't forget that part of what made it very difficult for Ed to accept James was gay was his religious beliefs.
Was it? I can't remember.
I'm pretty sure it came up.
I don't remember that, but you might be right. I don't know. But James definitely
has not had a great experience.
No. So yeah, it's really clever. And I mean, yes, I might say, and how old's this baby now? A couple of months? I would have thought that if Dee-Dee's faith is that important to her, which it clearly is, she might have given this some thought at some point already.
No, because she didn't want to have anything to do with the baby.
For a bit she didn't, but I wonder whether she must have prayed about Laila.
Wouldn't you have said,
so
I want my baby to go to a Christian family?
Yeah, I would have thought that she would have prayed that that God would welcome Laila into his family, and that James would allow, even living in America, that Laila would have found God in her own way. Yeah. So it would have been on her mind, and also now the baby's a couple of months, you'd have thought, is she and she's been back here, would the thought of a christening have come up in conversation?
Does Dee-Dee not know his thoughts at all about religion? Was it really a massive surprise?
I don't know. I'm looking forward to Monday to find out.
I hope
you'd think that you would know, because again, if this is so important to her, and they've not had loads of time together as adults, have they? Because she was over in America, then he went off, so they've not had too many scenes. But you'd have thought that it might have come up like, I'm going to church, do you want to come along? And he might have said, no, you're right, it's fine. But it doesn't particularly matter at the end of the day. Possibly it was a little bit clunky how they got there, but the fact that this conflict now exists, and it's making me think, I really think I would like a story where she's taking the baby to church on the sly. It gives me a bit of the Ivy Tillsleys,
Yeah.
And Ivy was a little bit more nutty, a little bit more. No, that's not the right word.
Intense.
Devout.
All right.
And because she was trying to get Nick, little Nicky, in the 80s, late 80s, early 90s, to go to their Catholic church, and she got him on the football team so that he joined the choir boys, and that was, but the hero, for lack of a better term, in that story was Gail, and it was like we were on Gail's side thinking, what is Ivy doing taking Nick to church, and that's against Gail's will. But here the shoe's on the other foot a little bit, because I think we're supposed to be supporting Dee-Dee, and I think
I don't know. I think people are going to come down on this according to their own personal beliefs, not which character they like the most.
I don't know. I'd be interested to find out.
Yeah, I would really like to know.
This definitely sparks my interest, but the idea, of her taking Laila away and getting her secretly baptised,
she could literally
really does appeal to me.
Christened.
Yeah.
She could literally threaten to take the baby away from James if he doesn't let her take him.
Yeah, I don't know what legal rights that she has.
I don't know if they've signed anything.
I can't remember whether they have or not. You'd have thought that if you were James,
who
knows all about contracts and things from his football career.
If you're taking the baby to a foreign country, you would have had to have. I mean, they're as good as went.
Yeah, they did.
You would have had to have signed something to let the baby leave the country.
I hope that...
This is really fascinating.
I hope that they give these two some really well-written scripts. Because this is a really deep...
This conflict is
personal
really fascinating
subject. Yeah. And just to kind of say, we'll throw them the odd scene here and there where Dee-Dee says, oh, but I want them to go to church. And James says, well, I don't. That's not enough. This is the opportunity for a lengthy, theological... familial kind of discussion about the topic that I hope that they don't skimp on.
It is interesting because I think the temptation would be to expect Coronation Street to just go side with James, because it is very secular. This country's so secular.
Yeah.
And I don't think that many people in the audience would side carte blanche with a character who wants to take a baby to church necessarily against the parents' will. But because it's Dee-Dee and she's the one that we love the most, and she's the one that we've seen go through this very difficult process, and how important her faith is to her has been brought up many times in a really positive way. Nothing negative has come out.
I don't know what things are like these days particularly, but I think that you would still get lots of non-religious people, or not traditional, go to church every Sunday religious people, might still get their baby christened as a bit of a, it's a traditional thing, even if I don't really believe it. So you might get some people watching it going, oh, come on, James, it's just a christening. It doesn't mean anything. Let it happen.
I think, although we're very secular, I don't feel as though most people feel any threat from religion in the way that James seems to. Like, I think a lot of people would say, what's the harm of it? It's not, what's going to happen?
Tell you what, maybe he was in that conversion camp with Theo.
Well, I mean, it's interesting that's going on at the same time. I mean, I can see his point, because if you don't believe in God at all and it's not part of your life, you don't want your child, what you would say would be, I don't want my kid being brainwashed and coming home and telling me all this stuff and believing all this nonsense that I don't believe in. It's all stupid and it's destructive and it's ruined my life.
But the rest of the Baileys have always, or has never shown a problem with Dee-Dee going to church.
Yeah, but it's not Dee-Dee going to church he's got a problem with. It's his child coming back and going, Jesus is real. Like, lots of people would find that, actually, they would probably find that repugnant, which I don't agree with necessarily, but I know that some people will, like, viscerally would find that so offensive.
Which is
disgusting.
Again why I think this is a really interesting route for the storyline to go, because people will have some strong feelings about it, hopefully.
Yeah, on both sides.
Yeah.
And what I don't want, though, is for Coronation Street to boil it all down to that blimmin' assisted dying conversation that they had, where somebody went, I don't think the equivalent would be, I don't think you should take children to church, and the other one person going, well, you're wrong.
Yeah, no,
which is what they boiled that down to.
Yeah. If you're gonna go down this route, Corrie, give it
and I do
enough time to breathe.
I really trust Corrie to be able to tell this in a way that doesn't make anyone right or wrong. Because I think although Corrie doesn't feel religious in any way, I think they're getting very good at seeing inside the head of somebody who's religious and being quite sympathetic.
What do you think that Michael and Ed might react to this story?
I think they'll tell James to let her take the baby to
I think Ed definitely will.
Because they'll say, what's the, like,
what's the harm in it,
It's
James?
not a bad place to take a baby.
Yeah.
All the places you could take a baby, a church is
I would say probably
Michael's
probably more likely to side with James and Ed with Dee-Dee.
Yeah, because if James says to him, how would you like it if Glory, started coming back with all this. What if Glory went to church and came back and said that Uncle James is evil because he's gay, because somebody there, like Noah,
Granny Spellman,
because we know that Noah is involved in the local church. I assume that Dee-Dee goes to the same church that Noah and Billy.
I didn't assume that.
Well, because it's only because everyone goes to the same doctor and everyone goes to the same hospital, not because in real life they would. Because obviously there are many different churches and denominations, and I don't think they would be the same.
Oh, yeah, it's interesting. Isn't it?
I like that.
Let's have a bit more of this one next week. I'm willing to give this one a shot. Right, little bit of the foster. Is it my go? Is it your go? I've lost track. What did Sally get up to this week? Sally and Tim. We've already mentioned it, haven't we? Basically, it's just Sally starting to get a little bit worried about the girls, the Michaelis girls, and their reaction to the little spat that she and Tim had last week. And now Sally starts to think, well, do we need to report the family to the social services?
And Tim's like, no,
they do.
We shouldn't.
Yeah, but
and then
she does it anyway because that's very Sally. So Lou ends up storming around number 4 later after getting contacted by them, and the Metcalves are saying, look, we're just concerned about the girls. Lou says nobody cares about more than those girls than I do. You don't know anything about my life, Sally. Tim does. He's seen what I've had to put up with. He's seen that I'm a victim of domestic abuse at the hands of my husband, Mick, and still you reported me. How dare you? I'm done with you.
Bye.
Bye. No more looking after the girls for you.
No more free babysitting for me.
Yeah, and Tim and Sally are shook somewhat, but by the end of the episode they're saying, well,
we did the right thing.
We'll just foster someone else then, I guess.
There's plenty more fish in the sea.
Yeah. Do you think it was the right thing for them to do?
It's one of those really awkward things. If you're a foster parent, if they're training to be foster parents, they surely will have been told about safeguarding, and you really cannot fanny around.
Quite fresh in their minds.
You would go, if you're in doubt, report it.
But it's not going to make it any easier. If you report your neighbour, you're going to have to expect fireworks.
I don't think Sally cares.
I wonder whether Lou would try and... I don't know how she would.
She'd take revenge.
Try and get in the way of any potential fostering attempts.
I don't think...
Sabotage.
Yeah, maybe.
Visits or...
Yeah.
Maybe.
Anyway.
Aadi Pardy.
Now, I loved Aadi. He was channeling Dev a little bit, I thought.
Yeah, especially that final scene, he was doing a little bit of Jimmy Harkishan-inspired acting. Not full-on deving.
No, but he was...
It was a bit of a chip off the old block, wasn't he?
It was cute. So Aadi's being boring, and Bernie, he's talking about pivot charts. I don't even know what that is.
I don't know what a pivot chart is either. And I don't necessarily see Aadi as being the sort of person that would be interested in this, but yeah, it didn't feel wrong for him to be going on about it. He is a bit of a nerd, but Asha's the nerdier one out of the two.
She doesn't know what a pivot chart is either.
He just is into business.
Yes.
And we've seen him grow since he started, taking on more responsibilities at the corner shop and, doing Evelyn's appraisal. And I can totally see him getting a little bit obsessed with it. And he's got no friends. He's got no storylines. He's got no adventures. So he's got nothing else going on in his life other than pivot charts and spreadsheets. And I loved Summer and Amy. So that they had 3 scenes this episode, but all 3 of those actors did a cracking job with it, and they look. Elle Mulvaney is brilliant at giving a really bored look. She's just leaning on her hands and oh my gosh.
She learned
and Summer looks like she's kind of melting. That was a really fun scene. Then Bernie comes along.
She's like, "Why are you talking about boring pivot charts? Life's for the living." And she bigs them all up and goes and tells Aadi that he should sow some wild oats and kill a few brain cells and paint the town red.
It's Friday. You should be podcasting tonight. Yeah.
She says, "We're here for a good time, kid, not a long time." Which, as the older you get, the less you think is a good plan. So Aadi rallies the troops, tells Aadi and Summer that they're basically pensioners and they need to have a party, and that's it. Yeah,
that scene, because they're talking to the camera almost, aren't they?
Yeah, it's like they're posing for
that was a total soap mag picture, but it actually wasn't. But it was a really amazing shot of him kind of looking into the middle distance, saying "This is going to be the best party ever."
It was kind of
and Amy's just there going,
I'm not sure. And someone's like, "If you're inviting me, it won't be. I can guarantee you."
Someone knows how to have a good time, I tell you. But anyway, they will be having their party next week, and I'm sure that it will be
fabulous.
Absolutely fine.
The last
They'll all
time
play
they
musical
ordered a party,
chairs. They go home by 8:00.
Wasn't that when Asha and Kelly with the phone?
Yes. That was when R. Kelly sent the pictures of Asha stripping for Corey to everybody. That was the party at number 7.
Yeah, just don't invite Kelly.
Yeah, don't invite Kelly Nealon around wherever she's up to these days, and I'm sure it'll go absolutely swimmingly. Right, anyway, that was this week's Coronation Street. We finally reached the end of that, and I thought it was an okay week.
I thought it was a good week. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I gave, I think Monday I said was a low bog standard, and today's was kind of a mid to low bog standard as well.
We both gave Wednesday a banging.
Yeah, that stood out as being a really special episode on Wednesday, and it was good to see it get a lot of positive reaction online. I think it's kind of going to even itself out still to a 3.5 sweaty glass blowers cracks out of 5 for me. What about you?
I told you to write down a bunch of stuff and you didn't write any of them down.
You haven't told me anything to watch.
I did.
You told me to write down bitsy bobsies to score out of, but we've already done bitsy bobsies a few weeks ago, which I'm really loving as Debbie's new phrase.
Yeah.
Here for bitsy bobsies.
I'm going to give this week 4 pivot charts.
You found out what it is, yeah? So you're having a look at your phone.
I think it's where you take Excel's data and make it into graphical things.
I don't know.
A pivot chart in Excel is a visual representation of a pivot table designed to display summarised data graphically.
Stop it, you're going to stop the listeners listening. Okay, fantastic stuff. Graphic.
Who doesn't love graphic action?
Well, charts are graphic, aren't they? I don't know. Right, anyway, character of the week. Who have we got for character of the week this week? Maybe Debster again.
How about
not
Kristen
Theo, are you sure?
Scott Thomas?
I think it maybe was.
Yeah, because he came back.
What do you mean?
Well, we had Kristen Scott Thomas as the drag artist, and then we had, I don't know the character's name, who played him out of drag.
Yeah, as a surprise addition to this week's Coronation Street that I didn't know we were getting at the beginning of the week, and just helped elevate Wednesday's episode into something very, very special. I am going to give my character of the week to Christian Squat Thomas.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, there we go. Well done.
Yeah.
Well done.
Sorry, Debbie. Hopefully you'll be around for many more characters of the week in the future.
Indeed.
But
right, what?
A special shout out to Raphael.
Oh, yes.
For his incredible turn.
Exactly.
As harried waiter.
Okay, that is it for this week's Street Talk.